Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And whoo, boy, I am tired. I am tired. Oh, my goodness. I am tired. I was having some nice dreams and a little nap, and now we are here. We are here to do this show where I have a bunch of reading to do. We have many chats from earlier this morning. And we're going to do a lot of that. A lot of that. Seriously, like Cinema Queen, the other moderators, you guys are dropping those links. I'll get there. No, we aren't here for the show. You're still dreaming. That seems likely. That seems actually very plausible, if I may say so. So to the chat. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. There is something I need to show for purposes of integrity. We do need to do that and make sure this is something that's been a little while coming, but for all sorts of logistical reasons, it is now finished. So let's do that real quick. Here we go. Rekieta Law Chat. $2,700 from the Nathan DeBruin stream has been donated to Nathan DeBruin. So there we go. We have that. Nate is now at $43,245. That is great news, great stuff, and I wish him the best. This is Photo Chad. If you don't remember who Nathan is, this is Photo Chad from the Kyle Rittenhouse case, and it is it was very much a privilege to have him on the stream for an interview, and the chat was wanting to help out with his issue. His issue was that he had been fired from his job, or well, not really fired, I guess, suspended without pay, we'll say, and indefinitely so. Suspended without pay, and so the question was, how is he going to move forward? And the indication was that his suspension was related to his testimony in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Can't 100% fully say it was because of, but it was just suspiciously close to it. And it followed an event where people were saying that he was supporting a murderer. But yeah, the chat was here to help out. People, I think, were a little bit taken aback by the idea that someone would go on the stand in a trial and tell the truth and then be punished for it. So, oh my goodness, these kids, I can hear them. Hold on. There we go. I was definitely not yelling. John says, does he work for a mom and pop or a major corporation? Seemed like a large corporation. Was the answer there. He wouldn't say which one, but it got the impression he was maybe maybe like a merchandise, or like a vendor. He said he worked in a what the heck? Hold on, sorry. He worked in a something that would bring him into big box stores. And so I don't know, maybe it says in here. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see. But anyways, it says photos cost me a few $100s to print, of which I didn't get back. As a result of the trial, I missed many hours of my actual job. Then I had to take unpaid leave from work after people started recognizing me and would begin chanting inappropriate things at me. I became scared for my safety. I also had to reach out to get some therapy because of the whole situation. Sadly, I had to halt my dreams and use the money that was saved for lenses, accessories, and money to travel to places to cover all the costs associated with the trial. As this has cost me dearly, will continue to for a while, all for stepping up and doing the right thing for my community of Kenosha. So there you go. That's he doesn't say who, but you got the idea that it was maybe like a vendor, and that he would go into big box stores to stock up on product and stuff like that. Oh, Tyrannogas says LinkedIn says merchandiser with Coca-Cola. There you go. That makes sense. That makes sense. So anyway, the donation is done. And let me do this. Sorry, my brain is still slowed down, but I want to see if I can do this. I had to take the amount from Playboard, and because YouTube only gives me the net amount from the show. And so I wanted to show you guys the net amount from that show. And that way you would see kind of what I see, and why I went with the full Playboard amount, if that makes sense. So here is the and this is good because I had also planned to donate money, right, to PhotoChad, so you guys can see how this works. Here's what the video engagement on that particular video was. You can see here, interview with Nathan DeBruin. The total revenue for me on the show was $21.95.53, and that includes oh, here we go. So that includes the transaction revenue. This is how much of the actual super chats came in. Because remember, YouTube takes a cut, Apple takes a cut. So out of the 2,700 that came in, this is 1749 that came back to me. And then there's some premium revenue for the people who have YouTube Red and watch. And then the ad revenue, huge, massive ad revenue on these live streams. But yeah, so remember the amount that was actually donated in, though, was I took from Playboard. I took the gross amount, not the net. The gross amount that came in was the $2,700. But I wasn't gonna settle down for YouTube taking their cut out of Nathan's piece of the pie. Okay. Wait, do I have someone complaining about my coverage of the Maxwell trial and the fact that I don't have any? 3 guesses as to why no coverage of the Maxwell trial. I have Kyle Rittenhouse, and then Nate, and then whatchamacallit, Kim Potter, and then Maxwell not televised. So I don't have a way to really follow up on the Maxwell trial in the way that I've been covering things. I don't have it. It's not televised. So for me to cover the Maxwell trial, I would have to filter my coverage through the opinion of somebody else. Rather than do that, I've been pointing people to the person who's actually there. That would be Joe Neerman of Good Logic. He is the one who's been covering the Maxwell trial. He's there in the courtroom every day. And that is why, I can't compete with that coverage. So that's the reason why. Believe me, nothing would have given me more joy than to have the Maxwell trial broadcast and then have me do it. But if I were to actually rebroadcast, even I know there's a stream of there was allegedly going to be a way to call into it. If you do that, it's a federal crime. And while most people would not be subject to punishment for that federal crime, licensed attorneys are uniquely under under some obligations from various courts to follow court rules and federal law. So publicly committing a criminal act as an attorney is not the best move. That can get you into trouble with the state bar associations or the bar itself. Did I tweet a link to this stream? Yes, I think so. So, yeah, so that was that's the issue there. And, but I would love to cover the Maxwell trial. If that thing was televised, I think we would have had more views on it than, the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, in all honesty, but it wasn't. So very unfortunate. Makes me a sad boy. All right. And one more thing I wanted to show. I have gotten a couple packages lately with some very nice cards and notes and gifts from people. This is from a longtime friend, Freddie. But I got this in the mail. It's hard to see. This is the Kiwi Farms Pure Silver Christian Weston Chandler 1 ounce coin. So, very, very happy to get a Kiwi Farm silver coin that was minted specifically. It's got the kiwi in the bird in the middle, and these are 2 corn husks. If you know about the corn harvest, it says, mind your business. And then on the back, it's got, Chris Chan and then the, puzzle piece. So very nice. Very nice. Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, but the owner of Kiwi Farms had some silver coins minted, and that's one of them. So it's great. Any update on Dominic Black trial? Nope. Dominic Black's trial is pushed back to. Oh, I would do that. That was stupid. Dominic Black's trial has been pushed back to January. Yeah, Jennifer, sorry. Thank you for the $5 through PayPal. No, I have turned off the Streamlabs donations because Streamlabs, well, they banned me. It's the main reason. Little banning problem that happened. Read the Jack Murphy article, please. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get into that tonight, but that's one issue. Struck, not minted. Only the government can mint money and credit card companies. But no, AWIG still banned the first time, but it being banned leaves a sore taste in my mouth. So, all right. I need to get down to the spot where I was earlier today. Let's see. Here we go. I'm almost there. This is a really good super chat in regards to Kim Potter that I want to just mention quickly. It says, I would like to take a moment to appreciate the fact that this trial was originally not going to be televised. That's from Barry Cream. Yes, please. And that is correct. Kim Potter trial was not going to be televised. So we had three major trials happening at once. We had Ghislaine, we had Smollett, and then we had Kim Potter. And Ghislaine and Smollett were not televised. Ghislaine because it's federal, and federal court has a rule against it, Rule 53, that you cannot broadcast these court cases. Can't do it. And then Smollett wasn't televised because, well, money, power, political interests, all of that stuff, and you just couldn't. They didn't allow it, even though it was one of the most followed cases that you could have. People were definitely interested in it. You just couldn't follow it, and so that was it's a frustrating thing. It's a very frustrating thing. In my opinion, all of this stuff should be broadcast. I think it should be available. This is the whole public access, and public access to the courts is a constitutional right. Just as, in a similar vein as your right to a trial is a constitutional right. But the way public access is handled is they say, if you can physically go into the courthouse, then you have public access. But that's not really public access, in my opinion. So, all right. Let's see. Where are we? So I'm close here. My windows got rearranged while I was sleeping. I mean, that's not entirely accurate. I had to refresh the page, and it got moved. Obviously, the place I was at got moved. Here we go. I think we're right here. So I am going to start. Although there are a couple that came in today, and I want to make sure and get those. Andrew War Snowboard says, if Trump was corn pop, does that make Biden corn flake? I hear he was a very bad dude. A little bit. And then there was one more. Shoot. Managing super chats for multiple streams is not something YouTube was actually cut out to do. The Bad Burrito says, hey, Nick, check your Steam inventory for a fun surprise the boys on Discord got for you. Okay. And pull that up. Speaking of Steam and fun and surprises and Twitch, Cuckold Simulator has been removed from the approved games for Twitch. So you can no longer play Cuckold Simulator on stream on Twitch, which I find to be disgraceful. That is super lame. What is all this stuff? What is Sands of Salazar? You know what? You know what? Oh my gosh. So here, I'll pull it up. Look at this. This is what I have to deal with. I log into Steam, and what's waiting for me but this? Furry Fetishes is a classic visual novel game with beautiful animated sexy scenes. Enjoy epic sex dialogues, stunning sex scenes, and incredibly beautiful characters. Awesome storyline, incredible soundtrack are waiting for you too. from Wyatt, Paco Taco, and Minister of Lottery. Woo! Thanks, guys. There's no way you can stream that game. There's no way that's on the approved list. Oh my goodness. I can't accept that gift until I can figure out how to hide those things. Sometimes my kid uses my computer to play like Slime Rancher. slime, furry fetishist. That looks like Slime Rancher in a different way. Click. Just look at the store page. No, not on stream. I don't want to get banned. I don't want to get banned for that. Very, 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 very thoughtful of you guys. Thank you to the bad burrito. And Keith Roberts says, sitting here sipping on some Weller 107, listening to you while wrapping presents. Thanks for your coverage of the trial. Signed, an LEO. Hey, Keith, my pleasure, man. And by the way, Merry Christmas to you and stay safe out there. As a law enforcement officer, you know, it's getting to be what seems to me, now this is an outsider's take, but it seems to me to be a harder and harder job with less and less appreciation coming back. And some of us do appreciate the work you do, even if we would never talk to you because you're a cop and you can't be trusted with our liberty or whatever. But no, the one of the things that people misunderstand about some of the things I say is when I say don't trust or don't talk to the police, you don't talk to the police because for me, it's because I do respect them and I respect their ability to do their job. And their job, when you frame it properly, is to find evidence of it's not their sole role, but to find evidence of probable cause for someone to have committed a crime, to then compile that evidence and give it to the prosecutor or grand jury or whatever they're going to do with that afterwards. So with that, I have faith in cops to do that job, that investigative step very, very well. And I, that doesn't always mean catching the right person because they don't know. They don't know. It's not their job to know. It's their job to investigate and gather evidence. And then that has to be determined at a later time very often. So with that, that's I when I say don't talk to the cops, I mean it with love. Never, ever talk to them. Oh my God. Very, very unsafe. But I do appreciate the work that you guys do. You guys are out there putting your lives on the line and it is a service. So all right, here we go. Speaking of that, back into the earlier chats, and in a little bit, I'll talk about Sophie Long and what's going on in that situation. KFG says, Prosecutor Dunce woman needs to resign. Stephen Copperbottom says, can we hit this prosecution with culpable negligence of the law? Mo Zamboni says, I've got to say, this is the longest, crappiest magic spell I've ever heard. How did she graduate from Hogwarts? Chris Raposo says, Christ almighty, I can't handle this prosecutor's voice or cadence. How you and the panel tolerate this without losing it is beyond me. Merry Christmas to you, the family and the panel. Hey, Merry Christmas to you, Chris. Thank you very much. Incarnation Art says, personally, I don't want it to be Earl with the clothes. His raspy voice, I think, can make it hard to connect with empathy and to the truth for jurors. I don't know that Earl has trouble connecting with anybody. He seems like a guy who very quickly builds very good rapport with people. I thought his closing argument was overall fine. I wasn't blown away by it. He got many of the things he needed to say out. It was a little disjointed from time to time, but it was not all around a bad closing argument. Jeremy Smith says, why is Eldridge speaking with so much vitriol and disdain? I'd feel like I'm being lectured and talked down to if I was on that jury. Because that is her life, right? Her life is vitriol and disdain. Zach Williams says, Earl Grey going to teabag this prosecutor in closing, pun intended. Gray Bourbonis says, Why are we seeing so many over-the-top, horrible lying from prosecutors lately? This looks very much like it's a wider problem, and we're only seeing the symptoms like roaches. What can we do? Well, one step is what you're already doing. The participating in the open process, participating in by watching and talking about stuff and talking about it intelligently because you've actually been following along. That's big. That's big. Many defendants who have public reputations to manage after this, which is pretty much any defendant has some level of public reputation, would love to have informed people talking about their case if they're innocent. They would love that much more than having random people who read a news headline being force-fed the narrative. Because unless you're part of the narrative, like Jussie Smollett, unless you're part of that narrative, you're not going to get the type of coverage that he got and is still in many cases getting. You don't get that. You get the Kyle Rittenhouse treatment. You get the Ken Potter treatment. You're a monster forever. No matter if you're not guilty, well, it's a technicality. Well, they're technically not guilty, but we know what they did. You know, that's the framing and the coverage that you get. So by having people who are watching the case, being informed about it, even that small amount of advocacy that you're able to do by saying, hey, you know what? I actually watched the trial and that point didn't come up. They never, the prosecutors never even accused Kim Potter of being racially motivated. And they had every opportunity to do so, but they didn't. It's kind of weird, right? They didn't mention race at all. Even Dante Wright's family didn't say that racist cop killed him or anything like that. It's very weird. That is helping them. That is helping the system, or not the system, but that is helping the idea of transparency, and that is where accountability starts to come in. It's just having eyes on it. It's a long project. Yeah, it's a long project to get there, but we're on the baby steps of it. Automata says, note to prosecution, don't say press the trigger. Peter B says, jury instructions are nuts. If a person commits a conscious or intentional act, then it's not up to the state to prove intent. What? It's not up to the state to prove the intent to kill. They have to prove the intentional action, but not the underlying intent for that action to cause death. That's what that was saying. Uncivil Law says, so I cry and I beg for you to love me, say that you love me, leave me, just say that you need me. I can't care about anything but you. Okay. All right, Uncivil. Swiley Shooter says, strike fired handguns have 3 safeties, one of them being external. The officer screwed up big, but this is a witch hunt. SoCal Gunner says 100% avoidable if Mr. Wright didn't decide to run. She going to touch on that? No, she's not. Everything in their power. In fact, one of my favorite moments was when Aaron Eldridge professed how much of a hero Dante Wright was for getting in the way of that bullet, that random bullet flying towards that group of people. And Dante Wright thrust his heart and lungs in front of that bullet, dying so that no one else on the scene, who were all at risk, had to do so. What a hero. What a hero. Stogies and Boomsticks says, state's argument, guns are bad, okay? Guns are bad, okay? Z. Michael Gelke says, watching these cases has really destroyed my faith in the legal system. It's just one group of criminals lynching another. Kyle's free. Smollett's convicted. We'll see what happens with Potter, right? Like, some justice is being done here. Leon McGilcuddy Says the risk of using a weapon increases at every police interaction because they always bring a weapon. We have always accepted this risk. Yeah, that's part of the policing strategy. Although I would say that we may have always accepted the risk that police would be armed, but early police had a little bit of a different role. There was less peacekeeping involved and more pick up the pieces. As our ability to have people respond closer to real time has increased, then sure, we have more of a peacekeeping role for police now than we used to, and that has led to an increase in interactions, for better or worse. I know it's a song. I'm not going to sit here and sing the friggin' Cardigans. What do you think this is? What kind of channel do you think this is? Do I look like I... Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Oh, I forgot. There's a tweet. There's a tweet from earlier today that we have to cover real quick. Let's see. This is important stuff. Come on, where's my... There we go. So, had a little retweet or quote tweet of the Kenosha County Eye here. Kenosha County Eye says, in a very bizarre statement, Kenosha Assistant District Attorney James Krause tells Wisconsin lawyer ethics investigator that he and Thomas Clear Binger are not homosexual lovers. Keep in mind, neither I nor anybody have have accused them of being such. So, here's the Krause and Binger, star-crossed lovers. Here's Krause's response to the alleged response to the Office of the Lawyer's Professional Responsibility. I noticed in one of his emails, he inaccurately relayed an exchange on the record in front of Judge Milasauskas. He also indicated that, quote, Krause has a scary and concerning obsession with me. Krause, the reason he has that obsession with you is you felt the need to bring it up in the Rittenhouse trial during the testimony of Nathan DeBruin, that he talked to a blogger who said negative things about your office or whatever, or maybe that was on closing argument. Either way, it had no place in the courtroom. It had nothing to do with the case at bar. You might have a scary and concerning obsession. I'm just saying. He says, which could not be further from the truth. Before he began focusing on me, the Krause is the me here, and he is the Kenosha County Eye. Before he began focusing in on me, I had barely interacted with Mr. Mathewson. I still have not had much contact, the above exchange being by far our longest interaction. He has involved himself in some criminal cases, which is not surprising given that he is a private investigator, and he has been listed on one case and subpoenaed in another. And then it's got something redacted. I don't know what. Also, I feel I should point out that Mr. Mathewson has resorted to repeatedly insulting both my and ADA Binger's physical appearances on his Twitter account, as well as his website. Mr. Mathewson's calling me fat. Sure. Okay. He has also indicated that we are homosexual, which he seems to feel is an insult, and posted at least one meme in which it suggests we are homosexual lovers. This is not true. Back Backdoor lover. The vitriol is all coming from one party, and he is now using the Office of Lawyers' Responsibility to continue his harassment. Thank you, Jim. So there is that. Hold on. There's one more thing we need to get to here. I have no idea where this would have come from. No idea why anyone might think this. Here we go. Fluffer Boy says, "What's the difference between Krause's refrigerator and Binger? The fridge doesn't fart when Krause pulls his meat out." Come on. No. Good God. That was horrible.
Wow, you've actually broken Nick. That's an accomplishment.
So, no idea where any of that would have come from. Woo. Kind of quiet. That's maxed out. It's whoever did the clipping. It's not that important. You got it. What is the joke? Oh man, come on. The joke was, what's the difference between a refrigerator and Thomas Clear Binger? And the punchline was, the refrigerator doesn't fart when Krause pulls his meat out. That's the joke. Okay. All right. That joke came from a super chat. So it was very, very unprofessional joke. Very uncouth. Sorry, it was a little quiet on the thing there, but okay. Oh man. Jim Bobbington says, if prosecution's case were true, why no charges for endangering Lucky, Johnson, Passenger, and the old people? Closing implies it heavily, but it's BS. Yeah, they keep saying all of this danger that Kim Potter put in other or put other people into, and yet there's no charges for all of the danger that they are alleging are results of her criminal culpable negligence. I mean, directly resulting from it, yet they didn't charge any of it. So nonsense going on there. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, with the very inconvenient fact that since they didn't charge it. Othamer says in ASMR judge voice, okay, so I cry and I beg for you to love me, say that you love me, leave me, just say that you need me. I can't care about anything but you. So that's that. Tony Alto 1014 says, so any news on Krause and Binger attending Andrew's class for self-defense? So cool you bought them both tickets. You know, they haven't gotten back to me on that. They have not done that. I'm hoping that they take him up on it. Those tickets, you know, those were purchased in good faith that they would listen or that they would watch them. And I hope that they do. Bob Pivel says, I know why, but asking you, why do my Chicago Bears suck? I have no idea, man. Haven't they always? Isn't that why? What was true is now always true. Matt Taylor says the doublespeak of the argument is mind-bending. She knew, she didn't. She knew Sergeant Johnson was in danger. She had no clue where he was. VS says, hope we'll see the same arguments made against Alec Baldwin. Bad Vibe says, deliberation 5 hours or less is my bet. You lose, sir. You lose. Greg Bourbonis says, I think you guys should have an average Joe on your channel. So many questions and implications that might be useful to address. Nathan, thank you for the donation. Sir Brass, read that one. Nathan says, Saint Wright and Saint Smollett, welcome to 2021. Whale Ear says, all of our witnesses lied to you except the guy we paid $30,000 and always sides with us. $5 Shake says, is Weird Al Yankovic almost done lecturing us? Contagion says, how can we call the cops to the stand as witnesses when they're so biased? I don't know. Let's do it anyway. Rusty Little, thank you for the donation. Jacob Turnbow says, not beholden to the state of Minnesota, sovereign citizens. Robin Camp says, listening to her voice and cadence is like listening to Charlie Brown's teacher. Insufferable and condescending. I feel like I read that one. KFG says, DA tone to jury so rude they'll find Potter not guilty. Doc Bunny's Big Show says, hey, Eldridge, let's go Brandon, let's go Karen, let's go Binger, let's go Eldridge. Alabaster Scarf says, hey, Nick, I sent you a DM with a movie poster for the trial. Thank you. Corey Boatwright says, they forget to charge the misdemeanor, no reckless handling of a firearm on the list. See, I know I addressed this one. Did these things get changed on order? No, because this next one, I don't think I read. They don't have to charge the misdemeanor because if they have the misdemeanor, death resulted from the misdemeanor for the reckless handling of the firearm. So it's incorporated into that crime. I read all the ones I read so far at the end of the stream. Well, we'll just keep going then because I think I'm about at the spot where we stopped. I read that one, actually. Joe Everyman says Gish Galop 2, the Gish continues. Then Wilder's Honey says we need Kurt to come on and finish the Bon Jovi song. Content of Character says, I wonder if this is how she talks to her cats when she's breaking up fights between them. Chris Anderson says she looks like she helps burn down cities when she's off the clock. KFG says her tone to jury solidifies a short deliberation. Acquittal jury can't stand her. Int Boom says they're prosecuting Taser Cop because their religious faith in training has been challenged and they don't believe in human nature. Awful stuff. You have not missed Sophie yet. Funny Ginger. I'm gonna take a moment for the Sophie Long updates in just a second. Content of Character says she keeps talking about Officer Potter's police family. I finally realized she's just bitter because Officer Potter's coworkers actually care about her. Logan Orr says should have done it on April 1st. Then after the shot, she could have called April Fools and been fine. That is close to where we were. That might have been the last one I read. Kevin Dorr says, legal mindset, quote, this should be a message to other police officers. Sorry, they're too busy arresting people at Applebee's and Panera Bread for not wearing a mask to get the message. Nope, I read that one too. KFG says, DA contradicts herself on conscious intent. Jerry Albert, you are such a weirdo. You're a Freemason shill, in my opinion. Okay. I don't know if I could even be a Freemason, but I'm not in the Freemasons. I don't know what your deal is, but have fun with that, I guess. Your Freemason fantasy. Daniel Gray says, play it in real time, case closed, not guilty, just like the Rittenhouse case. Edward says, I thought the state was supposed to go last, not first. Is this something they agreed to, or was I just mistaken about who's supposed to close first? State bears the burden, so the state goes first and last. Anyone can be a Freemason? I thought they didn't let Catholics in. Alt lag. I don't live anywhere near a Popeyes, so I had my dinner today was just was some Popeyes chicken strips and fries. That's all I got. That's it. But yeah, the state bears the burden, so they get to go first and last. They go first, and then they get a rebuttal. I disagree with that being proper. I think the defendant should get the last word because they're the ones who go to prison. The Pope forbids Catholics from being Masons? Oh my goodness. Yeah. No. I don't even know. I think there was a Masonic lodge in the town in the town here. It was, I don't know if there still is. The space where it used to be was rumored to be haunted, as I think a lot of Freemason lodges end up with that rumor, but because I've seen that in multiple different places. But that was well before I even moved here. Now the lodge exists in my basement. So yeah. No, I have no ties to the Freemasons. You got to realize I was raised Catholic by Catholics. That's probably not going to be something that happens around here. Although one of my grandfathers was a Grand Knight of the Knights of one of the Knights of Columbus chapters, so I guess there's that for a while. Tony Alto 1014 says, "What is your guess on deliberation? How long? Any sense about the jurors? It's tough not being able to see their faces and reactions during testimony and cross." Deliberation, how long? Hopefully it's done tomorrow. Alt lag, I was shitting on KFC. I hate them. They're terrible. Their chicken has gone down the garbage disposal, but their chicken strips are okay. And I live in a small town. You take what you can get. But where was I on that? Right before I was reading that. Oh yeah, on the deliberation. I mean, I don't know why it took the 5 hours today to deliberate, but they'll be doing it tomorrow. I did get a hat, a little hat tip from the from someone who's a Hennepin County employee, and they suggested that Hennepin County has plans to read the verdict after they can clear the buildings at 5 p.m., no matter when it's done. Whether or not that turns out to be true, I guess we'll find out. But that would indicate that tomorrow it would be read in the evening, even if they were done earlier in the day. So that is entirely on the anonymous tip that I got from that, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. Is Ty's in the chat? Is that what I keep hearing? Ty Beard. I hear people talking about Ty, but I don't see him. I don't see Ty in the chat. So now I think you're lying to me. Ty was on the show earlier today for quite a long time, so that was nice. Next, we've got Nathan Hewitt says she moves like the vulture in the original Jungle Book. Says defund prosecutors. Some internet dude says, I read that one too. It was the Hank Hill voice. My God, are you still talking? Ryan Linder says, okay, Earl, follow Andrew's advice. Get hard and give her the full 14 inches. Scott Campbell says, Earl Grey closing a la my cousin Vinny. Everything that gal just said is bullshit. Samuel Freeman says, you do a better closing by having a professional writer arrange and weave together the facts into a coherent closing argument. Again, and I'll give the same answer I gave earlier. Only if you can follow what they wrote. That's an unnatural speaking style for some people. Anne says, Andrew, I've never committed a crime, but I'm contemplating doing so just to have you represent me. Your outlook is hysterical. Love you both. Chelsea Roberts says, labor and delivery nurse here. Could this trial have implications for things like medical errors? Labor and delivery is perhaps the most highly litigated area in healthcare. Thanks for the coverage. Possibly, but I mean, this case won't have precedental value in any real sense. Vintage Mom says, we watched Kim Potter's reaction after she shot him. I wept watching her weep. You can't fake that. Love LawTube. Baxter says, Colorado truck driver got 110 years for negligent accident by jury. I'm worried for Potter. Let's hope the jurors follow law and not emotion. And we talked about this on the stream. I think there's a lot more detail to that case. Someone sent me someone who is purportedly a trucker in Colorado sent me kind of a breakdown about some of the issues that that guy faced. Not being able to read English, which matters a lot when there are important road signs. Not properly engaging the engine brake and missing the runoff lanes that were available. But he also had some other things to say, like, is the standard that he has to go to prison if he didn't, just die? Because one of the options would be, if you miss the runoff lanes, would be to still run off the road and just hope that your rig stays upright. And in certain places in that area of I-70. And I think he had said that he had a driver do that and actually pass away from that same activity. So, it's as with all things in life, things are as with all things, or all things in life, the reality is more complicated than just simple statements about it. And that's why these trials go on for a long time over what should simply be a simple issue. Is the guy recklessly driving or not? I mean, did he check his brakes? Did he have the training? Did he follow training? What did he have? This isn't that hard, but it turns out it is that hard, right? There's a whole bunch of considerations that need to be made. Wayne Smith says, Nick Rekieta, has anybody ever told you that you look like Edward Norton Jr. in American History X? Yes. This super chat did earlier. And I think what I said before was minus the swastika. Russ Man says, if I were in the jury, we'd be there all year because I'm not sending this woman to jail ever. Her career is over. Life is destroyed. She has to live with it. That's enough punishment. And that is an important thing for people who think she should be punished in some ways. That she has been, she will continue to be. It's just that jail might not be appropriate. Bruce DM, thank you for the donation. Z. Michael Gelke says, that's what happened in Seattle. We spent years building up a professional force after 2012, and they destroyed it and were worse off with fewer, less qualified police. The good ones went suburban. I feel like that was the actual last one I read. Jonas Wheel the Fourth, thanks for the donation. Mike the Dad Crosby says, what a time for criminals in Minnesota. Remember who our AG is, Antifa Ellison? No, I read this one too, I think. It sounds like these pro-criminal attempting an end run around the defund the police pushback. A guilty verdict, even just the prosecution, will lead to officers leaving. You know what I should do is I should just pull up the previous stream. That's what I should do. Sasha says, Binger mentioned Bronca's course in his baseball card interview. Did he? No. Because I hadn't bought it yet, I don't think. What did he say about it? So I have not gone through and don't intend to go through on stream Binger's other interview. Binger did another interview with his best friend forever. They've been best friends since 1976. And they have a nerdy conversation that loosely touches on Kyle Rittenhouse. And I'm not, look, the other guy's just a guy. I mean, he is friends with Binger or whatever. but he's just a guy, and I don't feel like sitting there dumping on just a guy. That, you know, that guy wasn't involved in the prosecution of Kyle Rittenhouse. And so that's the main reason I've held off. He's not an attorney, as far as I can tell, who would have a whole lot to know about the case. Like the New York State Bar Association president should have known more about the case and was reflected in his very poor questioning that he did not. So I thought that was fair game. But yeah, I didn't really want to go through his like 2-hour long interview with his buddy. That's just two friends talking, and I'm fine with that. Oh, give me a second, guys. These damn kids are now an hour past their point where they're supposed to be asleep, and I keep hearing them. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back now. These kids, I'm telling you. I need to hire Kim Potter to tase him or something. It's a joke. They're just excited. Christmas trees up. We never have the Christmas tree up, by the way, before sometimes we don't even get it up before Christmas, you know, but normally we get it put up like Christmas Eve. So we put up the Christmas tree the other day, and then the kids are like, all right, we get to open presents. And it's like, nope, no, you got to wait, you know, several days now until presents, because they're like, but we always must be Christmas if the tree's going up. It's a fake tree. I'm too, man. I had real trees all growing up, and they're wonderful and beautiful, and they smell nice. They're also a disaster. They're a disaster. Show your show again? What do you mean show your show again? CBDX.com says, so sad to hear the news from YouTube. And again, I got to forward you guys that message, but let us know if it's okay to continue super chatting to tell people about our legal THC products, and that Nose is a 20% off at checkout. We love you and don't want to cause any trouble. Great stream as always. I can't see how your super chats would be a problem. If they don't like your super chatting, they can censor it. They do. They censor a lot of stuff. But yeah, I am not allowed to personally promote THC products, even legal ones, according to YouTube's terms of service, which I think is lame, because I don't see why you couldn't promote a legal product. But them's the breaks, them's the rules. Oh, shirt, not show. Yeah, show. Here's my shirt. Ask me about jury nullification, which is a fantastic shirt. Tony Alto says, have you squared away your schedule yet? You're going to attend Andrew's class. It will be cool if Krause and Binger are both in the peanut gallery. I don't know. I have to look ahead. So we'll see. Let's see. STFU FFS says time might be wrong. If the supply of racism exceeded the demand, then by the law of supply and demand, the price would be very high, but race hoaxes are a dime a dozen. Midnight Green says prosecutor claims Potter's gun was in front of her face. If that was true, then why would she mislead her fellow officers about it being a taser? Yeah, again, it's nonsense. She clearly believes that she has a taser in her hand. They have to walk this line of attempting to dispute that without being able to dispute it in any way. All right, let me get some of this update info. So this came in a little while back. If you've been closely following the Sophie Long case on other channels, you may have already seen this. But I'll give you my take, and maybe you haven't seen exactly what I have. So Sophie Long, for those who are not familiar, and I might have to do a recap of Sophie Long for some of the new audience at some point. But Sophie Long is this child custody case down in Texas. Okay, what the heck is this? Oh, the Binger interview does have the timestamp. Okay, maybe we'll watch it since there's a timestamp. Maybe we'll watch just that section. But okay, so sorry. Sophie Long is a child custody case down in Texas that got really popular and blew up. Her father's a guy named Michael Long. Her mother is a woman named Kelly Long. And there is this went viral with this video of Sophie having to go back to her mother's custody and crying and screaming and accusing her mother of allowing very, very awful sexual abuse to happen to her. So that is a it became a very distressing situation when this, at the time of this video going out there, there was a joint custody agreement of some sort, and Sophie was apparently expressing a desire to not go back to the mother, and the father didn't really know what to do, and so posted this video asking the internet for help. Shortly after posting the video, the tide turned swiftly into Michael's favor. He was able to get custody of the kids. Now, Sophie is not the only child. There are two boys as well. And there's also this Jacob character that was Kelly's boyfriend. Okay. Then this is there's so much to this. There's so much to this, but my coverage of this case is probably what is behind my other two channels being possibly permanently deleted, because the people following this case are rabid. They are rabid, and if you go against the narrative of what they believe to be the truth, they will attack you. In fact, my friend Kiwi Farms Ken Jennings, Ken's counseling couch, was reading some of the documents from this case, publicly available documents, by the way, from this case. And they went after his employer, and he was fired from his job for it. All right. So anyway, long story short, the court ended up ordering, let's cut to the end. The court ended up ordering Michael Long to provide his daughter Sophie to Kelly. Michael did not appear to believe that was a good thing for the interests of his daughter, whom he believed was subject to sexual abuse at the hands of Kelly and her boyfriend and other people. And so he declined. He declined to accept the court's offer, and they were on the run. I say were because it seems like on about December 11th, maybe December 10th, Michael was arrested with Sophie in Mexico City. They were down in Mexico, and he was apprehended, and Sophie was taken into some sort of protective care down there to be brought back to the United States. Okay, there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot more to that I'm going to read now. Now, this is me getting some secondhand information. Okay. So this is on December 11th. Michael Long and Sophie were taken into custody in Mexico City last night. Mexican police allegedly lied and said everyone had drugs on them. Well, welcome to Mexico. Sophie has been separated from Michael and they're being deported back to the U.S., where Sophie is going to be given to Kelly. Hold on that. There's an update on that. So this is the initial information that I got. The Karen, who is confirmed to have emailed Ken's boss, Lisa Sadowski, is also allegedly flying into Texas to be there with Kelly. So then we've got these updates that came from the Facebook group, which we can share here. So thank you all for your care and consideration during this last horrible year. Whether or not you believe Sophie's accusation or believe that she was coached, she will now get the help she so desperately needs. Now we can update you on Jack and Lucas. These are Sophie Long's brothers who are in Kelly Long's care. Jacob Wellington, by the way, I think is the guy's last name. But Jack and Lucas were in Kelly Long's care. They had been transferred to her custody. None of the children will be in Kelly's custody, as they are being placed with a third party who is unrelated, as she did not want her sister to care for them while Kelly deals with her drug and alcohol abuse issues after her sister found her passed out and unresponsive on the floor. Mowgli will also be cared for elsewhere. That is, I think that's Jacob's and Kelly's son or something like that. Kelly had asked for Courtney to go to Arizona before the FBI was involved. Here, let me get the next one. To help Sophie transition out of Mike's care, as she was not willing to go herself. But Mike's former mod, Amanda, antagonized Mike and told him she knew where he was, which was why he left that location, which was his ex-sister-in-law's house. Many of you have asked me why I believe Sophie all this time. I can now tell you that Jake has a sealed record in Travis County involving another minor girl. Jake has also assaulted Kelly and Mowgli. Again, I hope you will continue to keep Sophie and the boys in your prayers. So here's another update. Again, just getting all of this stuff in. This is the next day, I believe. Sophie is currently in the care of the U.S. Embassy in Mexico and sitting in a Mexican orphanage, waiting for an opening in a care home while Michael is sitting in a Mexican jail. It is falsely reported they have been extradited to the United States. They have not. Please understand that our information is limited for obvious reasons and that we are doing our best to gain a fuller understanding of the current state of things. We will update when we know more. Any thoughts, prayers, and donations help. Thank you for your continued support. Come back with your shield on it. Come back with your shield or on it. We are Sophie Strong. I have no idea why they're quoting 300. But yeah. Whew. So there's that. That is the current update on Sophie. I've not gotten more information since this. This was about 9 days ago. But what I found really interesting about that was, of course, the fact that Kelly Long appears to have severe drug and alcohol issues, enough that they would take the kids from her, place them with a third party. That's refreshing, because Sophie should not be, and the boys should not be in her care if she is a danger to them. But Jake Bellington, not Wellington. Jake Bellington. My bad. Thank you for the correction there. But so here's the interesting conundrum, and this is the beauty of family court, right? So Michael Long believed that Kelly was unsafe for the children, and because of that, has been trying to resist and appeal the court orders that he believes to be unlawful. And it turns out that Kelly appears to be unsafe for the children, right? Like that appears to be the case. Jacob Bellington appears to maybe allegedly has some sealed record in Harris County in regards to another minor child, another minor female. What the extent of that is, don't know because it's sealed. But Michael could very well turn out to be right about his fears about Kelly and Jacob, but still be wrong in the eyes of the court because he disobeyed the court order, even though he was correct and the court would be incorrect. Yeah, you don't get out of it just by being right. Which is that's lame. That's lame to me. Because yeah, but she's a danger though. No, she isn't. And then just, a couple months later, well, it turns out she actually is. Harris County is Houston, Texas, by the way. If someone was asking where Harris County is. Harris County is Houston. So that's the update on Sophie Long. If I get some more concise and complete information now that some time has gone by, I'll update it again. I said I would update days ago on this, and I just didn't get around to doing it. So I wanted to make sure and get that in there for people who are following along on that case. The hard thing is, without direct communication with the people involved, you're really getting a bunch of true crime, like rabid fans who've been following this case for 2 years, and they believe that they have an opinion about all of this stuff, and they believe they are righteously justified in delivering that opinion, and therefore they will literally crusade against you if you go against their narrative. And that means that there's nothing off limits from the terms of, basic. I'm talking about basic indecencies. I'm not talking about like murder and stuff like that, but they will dox you. They will email brigade your employer. They will do all sorts of stuff. That's why it was funny for me to cover it, because I'm rather difficult to assail in that same way. But Goth Ducks says, where did I get my shirt? Someone sent it to me. There's someone sent it, and so that's that. But the case, the Sophie Long case, is actually very, very, it's a long and tangled mess of a story. I've done a couple videos on it. You can get some of the story, but there's, a PR firm that got involved out of nowhere that turned the whole public message. Once that PR firm got involved, got changed and went in favor of Kelly. There's all sorts of alleged judicial misconduct going on. There's some basically confirmed judicial misconduct that happened in the case. And all of this exposes a greater sort of problem with the family court system in certain areas, probably in most areas. This incestuous relationship that they have with the courts and guardian ad litems and appointed attorneys and all of that stuff is really messy. Really, really messy. So yeah. So there's the update on that. And I'll grab that Binger interview in just a minute. Where are we? Oh no. Kurt's live right now. Oh my gosh, the guy's a riot. Let me see. Let me find this interview. It's been a couple days since I looked at it. The worst part with my YouTube history is sometimes I fall asleep and it plays through a whole bunch of videos in a row. Here we go. Let me get the timestamp pulled up. 42 minutes and 6 seconds. We're just going to go to 42 minutes here. All right. So this is Thomas Binger's interview with the card closet. Someone said that he mentions Andrew Branca's class here at this timestamp. I haven't seen this at all. But let's take a gander at what we've got. Sheldon Hall says, Nick, I'm starting a digital printing service in Webster, Massachusetts called Cosmic Design Works. I would love to help make decals to sell on your merch store. Well, my merch store is really pitiful. It's all through Teespring, so I don't think I can do third-party vendors on there. But that doesn't mean that that's the only merch store I'll ever have. I am planning on building up a website of my own at some point in the future here, and we'll see what sorry about that, and then we'll see what happens there. I think doing some independent store stuff might be merited. Okay, what are the books? These are binders of cards, baseball cards, it looks like. So again, a lot of this stuff has not a ton of info about Rittenhouse from my overview of it, but here we go. He apparently mentions the Branca class somewhere around here.
So did your brother get fourth in the nation when he was in debate?
He did not. He did not. Little sibling rivalries, the younger sibling, you always want to kind of outshine. Yeah. And my high school career was more successful than my brother's. He went in and did a lot in college, which I never did. So he was clearly had greater success in college than I did. But in high school, I managed to eclipse his very successful career. But lots changed. That was many years in between then, and now so much has changed. I don't think you and I have talked about this, but I went and had this last summer. I had a lunch with my old debate coach, who you know.
Wait a minute. This doesn't seem like the 42 minutes, 6 and 90 seconds on the mention from the interview. That doesn't seem right.
And they don't do debate anymore like we used to do. We used to have a policy topic where it would be like, one of the topics, it was, political stability in Latin America, for example. And so you talk about debt in Brazil, or you talk about, Costa Rica, or you talk about the...
Oh, you suck. 42:06:90 4:20:69. You guys. Okay, you deviants. You deviants. Got me. Oh. That was a Sugma moment. All right, here we go. Back to these super chats. Bastards. All you people are sitting here saying Sugma dick. Take that, chat. Get trolled right back. There you go. All right, here we go. Andrew Henson says, how do you balance the issue of prosecutions versus the issue of rampant crime going unpunished? The issue of people like the parade massacre drivers bail. you work on it. I mean, you work on it, and you people vote, and legislators legislate, and prosecutors exercise their discretion more appropriately. And then, the thing is, these people are accountable. They're politically accountable to all this stuff. But we have to hold them politically accountable. Sean W. says, give the public defender the same budget as prosecution, dollar for dollar, head count for head count, including an investigator. Carlos Danger says, Earl Grey fixing to stack some more bodies. Jamie Deshelm says, Earl Grey off the top rope, finishing elbow with the rabbit hole of misdirection. Enter the kingdom of madness. Synapse says, prosecution's feeling those 14 inches now. Evan Bouchong says, Earl took about 30 seconds to BTFO the state's entire closing, but I'm biased. The gray area says, all these lawyer group live streams, when you guys laugh in unison, it makes my workday 10,000% better, 10,000 times better. Loretta Silver member says, Earl Grey is your dish best served piping hot. Phoenix Lord Asserman says, Earl is destroying the prosecution like a harlequin cutting through the custodes. That's fake news. Mike the Dad Crosby says, trying to fit my text, I deleted some in the middle. Damn phones. Pro-crime prosecutors was the middle part. Happy says, God bless the defense attorney. Earl and Paul are legends. President-elect Four Doors More Horse says, Earl and Earl Grey. Microsoft, the only thing soft on me is 14 inches. Ashley B says, long live King Earl. Content of Character says, Earl Grey is such a boss. No wonder they named a T after him. Also, sending prayers and well wishes for Mrs. Bronca. And guys, I do not have an update on Mrs. Bronca right now. So and many people have asked me about that. I do not have an update. Read the Murphy article. You want me to read the Jack Murphy article? The one that I got lectured over even mentioning? That one? Is that what you want me to do? HR Hackon says, I would like to file a motion for future polls to include the I honestly don't know so I can see the results without making a liar out of myself. Some internet dude says, Earl the GOAT. Monique says, any news on Miss Bronca's surgery? Avahine says, next trial should be a group hot tub stream. Wearing a shirt will be cheating, Ty. Tyler Wales says, don't forget to mention the green tent, Earl. Muy importante. Says Earl Grey is my favorite lawyer. JMD Reed says, Judge Mommy in the house. Thanks for doing this, Nick. Now take my money, you despicable grifter. Read the Murphy article next time Drex is over. It's a long article, and there's a lot to unpack in that article. Apparently, I was accused of getting it wrong. I don't know. Oh, man. You guys are trying to get me in trouble. Don't you know? Don't you know that other people may see this? Cool Mad Mike. He's here. He says, holy shit, take a break. Don't you piss, Lamau. Listen, I've been getting a lot of shit on my weak little bladder lately. Because people are like, oh, he left the stream to go to the bathroom. Yeah, sometimes you got to get up and go to the bathroom. Today, I sat here for 10 hours and I didn't go to the bathroom at all. I didn't get out of this chair for 10 hours. No one appreciated it. No one noticed. No one sent me a card or anything. I sat here the whole time. Normally, I go to the bathroom like 2 times during those long streams. But, man, wasn't 10. Oh, dude, I think it was. Let's see. This is how long was that? It's going to be 9 hours and 44 minutes. Oh, okay. Okay, 9 hours and 44 minutes. There you go. Rude. Rude. No respect. You guys really want me to read this article, huh? I was told I missed context. I'm also told I shouldn't leave my tweets up about it. I don't know. There's a lot going on. Let's see if I can find it. Do you guys really want to look at this? Do you really want to look at this? We might have to read. Might have to read this later. This was written. Here's the deal, guys. This is written back in 2015. It's written back in 2015. It's been deleted. I would suggest that that Jack doesn't seem to advocate this anymore. I don't know. I might need to wait for Drexel to really get into this. But it's it's the definition of cringe pilled. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, God. I don't know. I know it gets so much better. I know. See, I was accused of not reading the full thing. I gave it a good look through. So just for context here, okay, we'll do it this way. This is from the chat. This is a chat's fault. Today, I sent my adoring, loyal, hot, young girlfriend of 2 years to have sex with a stranger from Tinder. She's currently at his apartment, checked in with me via text, and is presumably sucking and fucking her way to a good time. I'm alone writing. Couldn't be happier. Now, before you write me off as another salon.com freak who wants to be a cuckold or some kind of spineless beta undermale, hear me out. This has been a long road. My manhood is intact and my dick is hard. Okay, here's the deal, guys. Drex is gonna come out in not this weekend, but next weekend, I believe. I think that's it. And we'll go through this. I think that's what we should do. That's when this should be done. When we have time to go through the whole article. But that's a preview. So it's, see, I wasn't going to talk about this. I said my piece on it on Yellow Flash, and I think I made like 3 or 4 tweets on some of the reactions that had gone on. But then I got some, I got some accusations about it. I got some accusations about it because I was told that I was missing context. I was told that it wasn't true, all of this stuff, and that and there's this weird disconnect between whether I should just ignore it and move on, or whether I should look into it further to correct my bad knowledge. Because, like, if I'm wrong on something, you either if you don't know this about me, you'll tend to find out. These kids, man, go to sleep. If I'm incorrect about something, I will lead with a mistake, but I also don't take down my words. I don't do that. That's not how I correct things. I leave my error for the world to see, and then I post the correction so that people can find it, and I tend to do it up front at the front of the next thing. So, I was suggested that I remove my words about this, and I can't, because I don't see anything I said that wasn't true. Hold on just a second. God, I don't know what I hear, like a fight happening. Okay, sorry about that. I've got a child who might have like a cold or something, so, whoo, fun times when they're not feeling well. All right. So anyway, I think I'll wait for Drexel to get here, and then we can learn about cultivating erotic energy from a surprising source. God. Wow. Wow. Suffering Succotash. Yes, as I said on Twitch last night, Jack did contact me about this. First, to correct me on something. I thought I had been blocked because of how Twitter was displaying the tweets. I thought I'd been blocked, and so I said I was in a reply to Yellow Flash, and then turns out I was not. And so I did put out a tweet saying that I was incorrect about being blocked. He did not block me. And then, he reached out to talk to me about the article. And I won't go into all the details of our conversation, but the long story short is, this does not appear to be part of his message now, or anything like that. Here's my take on it. Here's my overall take on this in general. If it's not part of your message now, great, right? If you wrote something in the past that someone that, you deleted or whatever, and someone finds it and they say, hey, what's up with this? That's not someone manufacturing something fake about you. That's not someone accusing you of something. That's someone saying, you wrote this. What's up with that? And that's your opportunity, in my opinion, to say, hey, I was in a different place. I don't, I thought this is the way. I don't think this is the way anymore. I mean, to me, that's how you address this type of stuff. And so I think there is a big missed opportunity here. Because, again, it's not like someone manufactured some audacious claim and then is just coming at you with it, right? There's a missed opportunity to say, no, this is what I believed then. I don't believe it now. And in this case, in this type of instance, I think it's incumbent upon a person to suggest that this behavior is destructive. Because to me, this is destructive behavior for men. This will lead you down a life of ruin, in my opinion. I don't care how intact your manhood is and how hard your dick is. Lots of people get their dick hard to things that are destructive for them. And that can honestly be a spouse, right? There can be spouses that men are attracted to that destroy their lives. Or it can be other sorts of things as well. And there are, our little head sometimes is a lot fucking dumber than our big head. So I think personally, how I believe it should be handled is that it's addressed and that it's explained that, this is a different time in my life. This is not what I think is true. I took it down because I didn't want people to be confused by the message. And that's how you move on from that. I thought, and I think he would maybe acknowledge that, and I think he has acknowledged, to be very fair on his Twitter, that his handling of the situation was less than ideal. But I don't tend to ever think that putting tweets into protected mode and all that stuff is the right thing to do. That's just me. Different approaches to stuff. So that's we're gonna, like I said, when Drexel's out next, we'll go through the whole article. And maybe look at it then. Get all of the context you need. Okay. That's the best time to do that. Plus, I got these, today's really about catching up on these chats and making sure we've got everything ready going into tomorrow. Would you say different strokes for different folks? There are lots of people who take different strokes, and some of those strokes are devastating. Just look at golf, right? Everybody takes different strokes to get to the hole. Sometimes some people take more strokes. Sometimes people take less strokes. Sometimes the strokes get you wet. Sometimes the strokes get you sandy. But at the end, if your goal is just a hole, then you're playing the game wrong. That was brilliant when you really think about it. That was cool. I navigated that. Review the footage, please. Review what footage? I don't know what footage you're talking about. All right, back to this. back to this. JMD Reed says Judge Mommy in the House. I read that one. He's like Columbo and Matlock, comes across as a bit disheveled and out of it, but the style works for him. James Ligon says good friends saved George Bailey from going to jail. Merry Christmas, Bedford Falls. Charles Greenwood says talk about vocal fry. Earl has Chew dripping right now. Fran Moore says pretty strong closing. Just wish he had pointed out the lie that the camera showed Potter holding the gun in front of her face. It didn't. Yeah, he could have clarified that. He mentioned that the body-worn camera was down here twice, not up here, but he should have clarified. So when she says the gun's in front of her face, it's actually in front of the camera. And the camera's not anywhere near her face. I think now it's time to indulge in a little bit of this Basil Hayden's toast. Mr. Benke says, how do they use this police officer as future witnesses in future cases after calling them liars? It's a bold strategy. It's a bold strategy. One thing is that these officers are, Brooklyn Center Police. No, it'd be the Hennepin County. Never mind. Ignore me. This is not a $5,500 bottle. No. I have never bought a $5,500 bottle of whiskey, but a gentleman from the chat sent me a sample from a $5,500 bottle that they had, and it was really magnificent. This is just Basil Hayden's toast, which I don't know how much this costs. It's good. It's tasty. I like it, but I don't think it's $5,500. What is this? Don't you hate when you get like a notification? Your phone buzzes, but you can't tell what notification it is. All right. Here we go. Let's see. Z Kelly says Change had a weapon when he entered his vehicle. Not only did he try to flee, he ignored the fact that others could have been fatally harmed. Automata says, say PowerPoints. Say PowerPoints again. I dare you. PowerPoints are garbage. Do not use PowerPoints in your closing argument unless you, if you have a really, really complicated case, it might be nice to have like a flow chart or something for the jury to follow. But just PowerPoints are trash. Your Barmy says, you don't say that was brilliant. You say that was Ricada. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Kimberly Campbell says, if they're calling PowerPoints training, then they really need to do some major reforming. Ashley B says, when you're trying to bail out your ADA, you bail the water out of the boat, not into it. Booksome Browncoat says, based on your knowledge of the laws of Minnesota, is there a charge she could have levied that was likely provable? Is this just more overcharged by Minnesota? No, I don't think so. Not in this case. The real idea here is that criminality almost always requires a criminal mindset, criminal intent. And when I say almost always, I mean like basically always. Even the strict liability crimes, technically, if you didn't intend to possess the thing, like you legitimately didn't intend to possess the thing, then you aren't guilty. Now, sometimes it's a really, really tough argument to show that someone didn't intend to possess the thing. But let's say, like in a beautiful world of perfect knowledge, someone hands you some ground up oregano, you think, right? And it turns out to be weed, but you genuinely think it's oregano for whatever reason. It's in an oregano bottle. It's labeled. You give them like $2. They accidentally give you their bottle of weed, right? That they've been hiding, that they're trying to hide as oregano. It sounds impractical because it would be a hard mistake to make, but there is this weird instance where someone gives you something that you didn't intend to get. You didn't actually know it was the thing that was illegal. Okay. Like you get a piece of stained glass or something, but it turns out it's just a sheet of meth that's been crunched up. Some weird sort of instance where you get a thing, you don't know it's an illegal thing, but you have it. You have the ability to claim ignorance. Receiving stolen property is like this. You have to know or really, really have some strong indications that the property was stolen. And so they develop that knowledge through a totality of circumstances. They say, how did you act about the property? Did you do anything that's suspicious with the property? Did you treat the property like you would treat any other piece of property? So you might be in possession of something stolen and have genuinely no knowledge of it. And that's fine, right? Someone hands you something like, here you go, have this. You're like, oh, cool. It's some low dollar item. Not a big deal, but it could be stolen. That's a defense. If you make a factual mistake about something, you don't know the identification of the item, therefore you couldn't have possibly manifested the intent to possess it. That's a defense. It's really hard to prove. That's to be very clear on this. You're not going to get out being like, no, I totally thought that this cocaine was flour for cookies I'm baking. That's going to be a tough one. Now, if the cocaine is mixed up with a bunch of eggs and like chocolate chips and vanilla and all of that stuff and sugar, and you're like, why the hell isn't this coming together? All right. Maybe you actually believed it was flour and not cocaine. Okay. But it's going to be very specific, and those types of things are hard to prove. In this case, you have to criminalize her mistake, or you have to say that she didn't make a mistake and she's lying about it, that it's a pretext or a post-text for what actually happened. So there's not really a lesser charge here. The lesser charge would just be the reckless handling of a firearm or disorderly conduct. Reckless handling of a firearm has the same issue, right? It's the underlying charge of the manslaughter one, so you can't really do that. But the issue is still recklessness. The issue with disorderly conduct is that disorderly conduct has a defense of self and others' defense, just like any use of force does. So there's not really a way to get to it. Roosevelt Media News says, if the prosecution is shit, you must acquit. Rhonda Ernst says, did y'all kick off Legal Bites? No, Legal Bites is just visiting her family. I think today she was in like Washington, D.C. or something. She went from like California to Chicago to D.C. or something like that. She's bouncing all over the damn country. I don't know. But I saw some pictures of her at like the Lincoln Monument or something on Twitter. But she's invited on, but she's spending time with family that she doesn't get to see for Christmas time. That's why she hasn't been around. Travis Allen says Earl objecting is genius, even if only to throw Frank off of his flow. Yeah, and they had to make those objections because they had to preserve them for appeal just in case they lose. And they had to make the mistrial motion to preserve it for appeal just in case they lose. They have to do that. What happened today at the closing arguments was outside the scope of rebuttal. They did a second close, and that's not acceptable. That's not how we do it. America 76 says the video clearly shows Kyle Rittenhouse chasing JoJo into Dante Wright's vehicle, Haven. It's a literal Potter Rittenhouse conspiracy. Alpha Foxtrot says it's crazy. Prosecution can just so boldly lie in court. Like, I get it if facts are in dispute, but this guy is countering basic facts in the body cam footage, or like Kyle, chase people around. Yeah. Well, remember, they get to characterize the evidence however they want because the jury is the one who decides what they saw. But it's insane. John Parson says, Nick, did we ever hear the final report from the BCA? That she killed him? That her gun killed Dante Wright? I don't I don't know if I think that was established. Mickey DeWop says, I need Nate to see. No, wait, I read that one. Daniel Arendt says, drunk Bronca is more coherent than sober me. Distro 32 says, seriously, why does the state get 2 closing arguments? They're not supposed to. They're supposed to have a short rebuttal. Evan Bouchong says, the fact that the prosecutor can lie about the law and face no consequences is a failure of our justice system. I have one says, these prosecutors are exact reason why Fred Rodell wrote book, Woe Unto You Lawyers. 200 Watt Studio says, how upset is ADA Harpy that her colleague has to do a complete closing to clean up her mess? Lol. Yeah, he did. He did. Her closing was bad. Aaron Eldridge's closing was bad. And Matthew Frank tried to fix it. Hold on. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, Aaron Eldridge's closing was bad. Not Earl Grey. Matthew Frank had to come in and clean it up, and he completely did so. And I mean, when I say completely did so, he did a better closing than she did. That's what I mean by that. But that being said, I don't know if it was enough to overcome the problems with the actual legal reality. But we'll see. I mean, if the jury thinks that Kim Potter just should be punished, you might get a guilty verdict. Let's see. What the heck is going on? All right. Morio Kitsune says, what's the sweep on how long it will take the jury? I have no idea. Lee K says, can you explain why that rule about recollection is a thing in Minnesota instead of being able to see a transcript or recording? Because this is simple. If you have a transcript of what was said in court, it's divorced from the actual context and impression that they had, right? Someone could say, Kim Potter could be weeping, I shot him. And then the transcript just says, I shot him. Right? So you can't have that. You can't taint their recollection with dry text that allows them to read in their impressions. They need to rely on their own impressions. And if you had a recording of the court, oh dear God, you think jury deliberations are long now? You just re-listen to the whole thing. We can't have that either. Lee K, Razor, nope, sorry. Carter Cole sent a peach. SSFD 132 says, why did they release alternates? What if there's a problem with a juror during deliberations? It's a good question. I don't actually know why they did. Jared Vautrat says, Earl, Your Honor, I would like it on the record the time you want me to pick you up for our dinner at that Asian restaurant. Britt Cormier says, lack of likes is the fault of the panel. If you have 1/2 of the energy of Earl Grey, you would have twice the likes. 200 Watt Studio says, Your Honor, would you please gently tickle the underside of my chin as you read the jury instructions? Amala Shock says, achievement unlocked, no scrubs. Anthony says, why or how would an honest mistake made by a surgeon that resulted in the death of a patient be treated any different than this case? An honest mistake made by a surgeon that resulted in the death of a patient is rarely ever criminally punished. They're rarely criminally punished. They're civilly liable all the time. That's a big difference than this case. Kara Papa says, I convinced my friend. Oh, wait, no, I read that one earlier. Let's see. New Neanderthal says, Nick, interested to hear if members of the panel would feel / bet differently on verdict if Potter were male. With the same service record, I don't think so. But if Potter were male, he'd probably have a complaint against him in 26 years. Rob Price says, if Potter is convicted with all the objections and motions to dismiss, what are the chances of this getting overturned on appeal? Also, don't you think chest / appendix rigs would create less draw confusion? For the taser, yeah. If you have your taser up here, grab it, like a side draw, like you have the holster up here. But, I don't know. I don't know how much shit you can put on the front of a cop before they get front heavy and fall over. Trade Talk says, thanks, Nick. You're doing both important and entertaining work. Lippo Battery says, Daybell case is in my hometown. Would be great to see it on your channel. I don't know if I can do a 10-week trial. L Boney says, so how long till I get to see Rust in theater? Ooh, SoCal Patriot says, appreciate your work. Thank you. Todd Baker says, it now looks like a guilty verdict is more likely because it didn't seem like Gray touched on negligence during his closing. I think that's a mistake. Monkey Meredith says, my dad was shot by a firearms training officer in a classroom. The officer got the ammo from a mixed tin of blank ammo. Thankfully, my dad survived. Andrew Hansen says, I felt I could use less than lethal force to stop this reasonable fear of death or great bodily harm is how you frame it. I agree. But the question is, the legal question, and this is a legal question decided by a bunch of judges who will never be in this scenario, right? Does a person who opts to not respond to lethal force with justifiable lethal force, they use a less lethal option. If they use a less lethal option, were they in subjective fear requisite to use deadly force? Because if you say they were afraid enough to use deadly force, they had the opportunity to use deadly force, but they choose not to use deadly force, then were they actually afraid enough? And that's, we don't have a clear answer on that from a legal perspective. And I know it sounds really like ridiculous because as stated on the stream earlier, we want the public policy of people the police specifically, choosing to use less lethal force when possible. Even if they think deadly force is justified, but they can affect the same result with less lethal force. We want them to choose that. We want the state to keep the citizenry alive to stand trial. That would be the ideal outcome. But I don't know the legal answer to that question because I don't think it's ever been properly before a high enough court to resolve. So that's when I keep bringing up that, can you actually have reasonable, or can you have the subjective fear requisite to using deadly force if you don't use it? And it's a circular sort of argument, but the court has to answer the question. They don't. They don't answer that. Jonathan Montgomery says, I can't see the jury, but seems Gray did poorly. Similar to Richards, disorganized, angry, not focused on key issue, the conscious disregard. I don't know if I would think Gray did poorly, but people are certainly free to have that opinion. Blake Pritchard says, sounds like Earl Grey teabagged the prosecution. V. Rivera says, with over 20 years as military and law enforcement instructor, 1 times a year taser training is not enough to build muscle memory. Well, I bet they fire the gun in training 3 times more. I think it was like 400 to 1 firing of guns versus tasers is a stat that someone threw out. I mean, it's an insane difference. Soho Checkmate says, I dislike the police as much as the next man, but if a suspect is putting life in danger, they have to protect lives at all costs. This is clear cut. Correct. Phoenix Lord Asterman says, glad to see you've left Mirkwood to join us on stream, Runkle. Chase Gardner says, my local sheriff pulled his neighbor out of his car and held his gun to her head, saying he could shoot her. Sheriff Craig Rowland, keeping Idaho crazy. Mr. Tech says, Dr. Grande has a nice summary of the facts of this case. Watch it. I disagree with his conclusion, though. Rob Wynn says the emergency ramps he passed were downhill ramps. He might not have recognized them as capable. That road is crazy. The Godfaber says the brass from the Baldwin shooting was Starline branded brass. That brass is not sold as assembled ammo, only as cases made to be reloaded. So someone specifically made live ammo. So Checkmate says, I live in London, UK. You guys have this quality info in the US. I would love something similar for UK law. Also says, can you guys please encourage or inspire one UK lawyer to give this quality of day-to-day advice? I only know one UK lawyer, and I think, and that's Helen Dale. Helen Dale writes for Quillette. And I talked to her on the channel a long time ago. She seems very interesting, but I don't know how much practice she does, and I don't know how much legal commentary she does. But she's talking about public policy and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know a bunch of UK attorneys. Kimberly Campbell says the man is 23 years old. How much experience could he actually have? That's in regards to the trucker. Jackson Kai says anyone who's ever lived by I-70 can tell you there's a truck on fire from their brakes burning out every other day. Experience doesn't prevent it. Savvy McSabswood says every guys you talk about cannabis, I want to pull out what's left of my hair. There's so much nuance you guys miss. Be careful what you wish for. Oh baby, I like it raw. Says black market will never die. Look, Savvy McStabswood, it's not what I wish for. Man, I just based on what marijuana is, what its effects are, and what its overall health impact is, I have a hard time finding it being illegal when this is legal. And in my opinion, this is worse. Flamethrower says, to the government, money crime is always the most important. Don't mind the dead bodies. Nothing to see here. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of weed. I'm not a big fan of it. I have no desire for it to be legal for me. You know how hard it is to do a live stream high? It's like impossible. Terrible. You sit there like, where was I? Right? Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. It's terrible. No thanks. Black on black violence is real. Says Eric Garner was in front of a convenience store that also sold cigarettes and paid taxes, told multiple times to leave the area by NYPD. Oh yeah, I get, no. Was it valid under the law to approach Eric Garner? Yes. Do we want someone to die over the government not collecting a tax from the sale of a loose cigarette? No. That's all I'm saying. It's criticism of taxation. Taxation is theft. Plus, by the way, the taxes were already paid on those cigarettes, right? When you buy them, taxes are paid. So taxing a subsequent sale is double taxation. That's just my opinion on that one. Crusader says, I like the cut of this crime talk feller's jib. Yeah, Scott Raish from Raish? Shoot. I forgot now. From Crime Talk. He was great. I liked having him on. Very sharp guy. Had that deep radio voice. It was good. He's good. V's Flat Desk Pepsi says, new guest question. Is it time for the balls question? DCV Titan says, why is the jury asked to rely on common sense, the rarest of rare superpowers? Todd L. Cole says, never trust the state. The state kept the laptop under his desk while defense approved the laptop. Probably clean, but why not check? Well, they did check. They did check. Reich. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Soho Checkmate says, hang on, where in the U.S. would you advise I move? Austin, Texas. I've been to New York and L.A. a million times. They're unpleasant. Not Austin, Texas. Don't move to Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is just L.A. and New York. Diet L.A. and New York. Don't do that. No. 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 Basilisk says, speaking of that double taxation thing, why exactly do cars get taxed again when they're sold privately? Beats me, brother. Ashley Harold says, this is off topic of the Potter case, but does anyone know if anyone will be following up with the Dominic Black case? I feel his charges should be dropped due to the gun charges on Kyle were dropped. Yeah, you and me both. I will be following up. It's not until January, sometime in January, that they have their next hearing. Alpha Foxtrot says, I feel like the defense should have final testimony to the jury since we should want innocent people to go free. Burden is on the state. I agree. I agree with the state wants quote unquote fairness, which they should never be entitled to. Brandon's the man says, are there monetary incentives for prosecutors to go for the conviction? Not directly. Like they don't get a bonus for convictions. However, a prosecutor that puts Kim Potter or Derek Chauvin behind bars with a national spotlight on them looks good for an attorney general, looks good for a district attorney position, looks good for a judgeship, looks good for a congressman, looks good for a senator, state or federal, looks good for governor. Lots of state attorneys with high profile cases under their belts go on to high power political positions. Looks good for a law professor somewhere. See, a high profile defense attorney becoming a law professor is a massive pay cut. Massive pay cut. High profile prosecutor, that could be a very significant pay raise for them. So. MB says, Emily, do you have experience with prosecuting cops and backlash from police witnesses on future cases as a result? It's a good question. Unfortunately, she's not here. Wayne Smith says, I was expecting Big Earl to break into Hughes without sin cast the first stone. Zach Woodard says, Nick, my boss gave me a raise to compensate for inflation, but I'll give it to you instead as thanks for reminding us the world isn't crawling with commies. Love what you do. God bless you and your family. Hey, Zach, God bless you and your family as well. Andrew Clark says, can you review Legacy Media Potter trial videos? Maybe. Not right now. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow because we're going to have a long time of just waiting around tomorrow, I believe. Crusader Saracen says, hey, Crime Talk, you ever consult with Bronca before? Filter Bear says, stake through the heart works on normal people as well, as Terry Pratchett points out. Caligula says, my brother started as a cop in a small town. There were guys on that force who hadn't drawn their gun in 25 years. He had to draw his the first month, just the way things go sometimes. Randy Callahan says, I'm a retired Fed, 24 years, never shot at anyone. Steve Burrows says, Dad retired after 35 years of LAPD, never used a firearm in the line of duty, just like a CCW holder who is aware enough to avoid the need. And that, you know what? I couldn't be happier. Could not be happier to hear of officers who don't have to use their service weapon. That's the ideal, right? If no officer ever had to use their service weapon, the world would be a better place. Ty Brunner, yes, you missed the Sophie update. It was about an hour ago. Punctuated Equilibrium says, Emily Baker, was that Judge Mitchell? Justin Wright says, there's a reason why I joined the Army. Really now says, don't interrupt mommy judge's alone time with Earl. Full disadulation says, best line of the day, Earl. They woke up at 10 a.m., which was early for this woman. Great channel. Would love to see you guys discuss Chris Watts with Scott. JR says, why does everyone hate PowerPoints? I like them. Stop it. Get some help. Skylar Simpkins says she said she was still in shock when she talked to him. 702 Marine says, how do you rebuttal something in typed format when what you're rebutting happened in real time? That proves it wasn't a proper rebuttal. Oh, he just prepared. He just prepared for the arguments that were coming, which is probably true. He did prepare for the arguments that were going to come. But the idea that they're not entirely predictable doesn't suddenly make it a rebuttal just because you predicted the argument. The reason you don't type out a massive rebuttal is because it's supposed to be a short rebuttal based on present impressions of what happened that need to be corrected, not a pre-rehearsed script that will bloat the time of the trial and that will give you a second bite at the second bite at the apple. Michael Roth says we need more judges like Roy Bean. Mike Brogan says, what if this timeline, 10 a.m. wake and bake, 11 a.m. get money, 2 p.m. get blasted, timeline don't make sense. American B Savage says, Christmas cookies, try my cookie dealer, code Savage 13. Mike, I don't know. All I know is like this story. There's so many fun little facts to this story that are just sitting there, right? The fun stuff from Dante Wright's, Kim Potter's trial for Dante Wright. One, so Dante Wright's the best family man on earth, but has been living with this girl for a little bit, for a couple days. And the kid lives with his parents. Love that boy. Love that boy. Love that boy. He wasn't there though. Wasn't there taking care of the kid. Instead, he's with this random Facebook thought that he meets. Okay, fine, I guess. Sleeps over at her house. They wake up. They blaze up. Then they head back to mom's house. He doesn't want to bring the girl inside. She has to stay in the car, right? She has to stay in the car. This super serious relationship, but don't want to meet mom and dad yet. But they have to go back to mom and dad's house. Why? Why is Dante going back to check in on his son? Is he going in to hang out with his son? No. Instead, what he has to do is he has to drive back home to get $50 for that car wash, though. That car wash, though. Then they leave. All right, $50, car wash and gas. Yeah, sure. Okay, sounds good. You get your Buick scrubbed after you get your Buick scrubbed or whatever. So they go out. Now, his phone, he doesn't even have service, right? Might have Wi-Fi or something. Homegirl's got 2 phones. Why do you got 2 phones? I just do. Why? Cause why does she have 2 phones? We all know why she has 2 phones, right? This is, you got your phone, your clean phone and your drug phone. Drug phone's disposable. You can get rid of it. Anyway, Dante calls mom. However he makes the phone call over Messenger or whatever. Mom, where is the car wash? I need to know where that car wash is. Dante Wright is not looking for a car wash. He's not calling his mom. Her car wash is all over Brooklyn Center. Brooklyn Center is a suburb, like any other suburb. You got your residential area, and then you go a half mile in any direction, and you get this is a first ring perimeter of the city. So Minneapolis, right, is here. St. Paul is here from my perspective, not from yours. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Brooklyn Center. Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park. They're right next to Minneapolis. These are suburban, but they're really close to the city and pretty close to the main urban area here. So, if you lived in this town, it would only take you 15 minutes to get downtown during traffic. It's a pretty close sort of space. All right. So there are car washes all over. You go a half mile in any direction, you're going to hit a little shopping center, gas station, and a car wash. It's just where you are. And if you don't believe me, just go to Google and type in car wash Brooklyn Center. See, they're all over the place. They're all over the place. So he's not calling for the car wash. right? They got a burner phone. He's calling to figure out where the weed at, where whatever he's buying's at. It's the $50 is for. So the two phones are for. That's what the scale in the center console of the car is for. Man's on a drug deal, and it's this nice little nugget of detail that nobody's allowed to talk about. They got to the fact that he smoked that day, but this is a drug deal that they're driving to. The amount of bells rung by this stop was off the charts magnificent. All based off of a right turn signal on a left-hand turn, an air freshener, and expired registration. Turns out you've got a gross misdemeanor warrant. You've got an order for protection. You've got no driver's license. You've got no insurance. You've got expired registration. You're driving with an obstructed thing. Possibly driving under the influence of marijuana. We'll never know because he was being arrested anyway. But you've also got drug shake seeds and twigs and shit all over the center console, and then you've got the lean drink in the car, right? Lean is like you take Sprite and you pour in a bunch of Robitussin, and then you drink that because that's good for you. But they've got that. And they're on the way to a drug deal. That's what they're on the way to do. That's why he's got the scale. That's why they've got two phones. That's why he's got the $50. That's why he's looking for a fucking car wash in the middle of a residential neighborhood. None of this makes any sense at all, unless you look at it from the lens of these cops stopped another crime that was about to happen. Because unfortunately, for whatever reason, and I'm sure that there are theories as to why, Dante Wright is a serial criminal offender. And that's the real problem here. This isn't some good, clean-cut kid just on his way to help old people at the old folks' home like they're trying to make it out. Dante Wright is not sympathetic because Dante Wright's a criminal. And that criminality is why he ran. That's why it's important. You don't get to be shot just because you've done a bunch of, high-level misdemeanors and low-level felonies. Like that doesn't merit killing someone. It doesn't. But it informs why he acted the way he did. He knows, that kid knows. He's got 5, I think they said 5 pending criminal cases. He gets brought in on this one. He's making every court appearance from here on. Because he's going to get, here's how that happens. You get arrested in whatever town that you're in Minnesota, right? And you make your court appearance for the arrest. And then you may make bail or whatever, but they're going to just put you back into custody and transfer you to that next jurisdiction until your next hearing. You'll get another first appearance. You'll be arraigned on that one. You'll be brought to show why you skipped bail or whatever it is, why they had to issue a warrant for your appearance. And then you'll go to the next one and the next one. If you have 5 pending criminal charges in different cities, you might be in jail no matter what you do for 15 days as they get you your first appearance, transfer you to the next place. You got to transfer in. Then they've got, basically 48 hours to get you in for your probable cause hearing on the next thing. And then you get your hearing, they transfer you to the next one. You got another 48 hours for them to hit you with that next probable cause hearing. That's if they're in different cities or different suburbs. I don't know if they're all in the same one, you're going to get wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, right through there. That's probably better for you. But there's a real possibility that this kid knows if he gets arrested, he's going to spend half a month in jail. If he's innocent, he's going to spend half a month in jail. And that's why he ran. That's what informs this whole case. That's what's going on that the jury's not allowed to hear about, which is, for better or worse. But it's not that Dante Wright's being shot because of these things. It's that these things are informing the clear line of poor decision-making that this kid has for most of his life. Here's you want the real black pill on this one. Dante Wright was a single dad. That means that the mom is worse. And that's hard to imagine. All right. Kara Papa says, Nick, if you got popular enough that you were offered a Judge Judy style TV show with you as a judge, would you take it? Depends on the money. Depends on the money. Money, time, commitment, and what else I'd be able to do. But should be fun. It would be fun. Grimm's Bar says, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch. Michael Palmer read that one. Andrew Haworth says, anybody have a scope on the Rogel Aguilera Madero sentence 110 years for the brake failure? This was to be more to has to be more to this case. We did talk about it earlier. I think there is more. I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of what looks like criminal liability on this guy's part, but also some overcharging combined with mandatory minimum sentences. And that is, that's a bad recipe. Am I Jewish? No, I don't think so. I've checked, and I don't have any specific Jewish heritage. I'm Polish, though. Like the Jews of Europe. Daniel Arendt says, why are the lawyers even allowed to make representations about what the law says or means? How can that not lead to prejudice in almost every child? Jonathan Duger says, the commandos that killed a 7-year-old girl during a raid. We don't have robots as police or military. We have imperfect people. Accidents happen. KFG says, Nick, but for resisting arrest, the taser gun would not have been drawn. Superseding cause. I hate that he was shot, but his actions set this in motion. I have no doubt that they set this in motion. I just don't think that meets the legal definition of superseding cause. But for causation, but for he was born. But the superseding cause comes between but for causation. So but for resisting arrest, but resisting arrest doesn't automatically lead to being shot. So but for her pulling the trigger, he would be alive too. I think that's the problem with the superseding cause. I think the better arguments are around justification, and I think no conscious disregard. I don't have a problem with them arguing cause, but I think the better arguments are focused on those other two. Mickey DeWop, thank you for the donation. Your chat didn't come through for whatever reason. Scott Bain says, I read the instructions. Seems to me that if a juror concludes as fact that Potter believes she was holding a taser when she pulled the trigger, it's not guilty for both charges. Fair. That's how it should be. Also, it seems to be that if she would be justified in using deadly force, it is also not guilty. So I think you got two big paths. Two big and strong paths. That's causation and justifiable use to a perfect defense under the law. Lamb Chop, not I am Lamb Chop, just Lamb Chop says, Edwin Sarkisian did a Ridge wallet video. How many titanium wallets does it take to stop a bullet? Iris Reyes says, do you watch Bruce Rivers? He's a criminal defense attorney. He has a great take on Alec Baldwin. Hashtag Blicky Bruce. No, people have been mentioning his name a lot more lately, but I've never heard of him prior to a couple days ago. Andrew Hansen says, you all should watch Trial and Error, the now canceled legal comedy. The defendant finds the murder weapon himself and does an interview under Polly. Kevin W. says, is it true the armorer couldn't be in the building because of COVID protocols? I have no idea. Lee Evans says, could the defense have referenced statistics of officers killed and injured by being dragged by vehicles as part of justification for use of force? They could have brought in an expert to talk about it, but I don't know that it would have been overly profitable. Tiki71 says, Nick, you need to build a tiki bar. Learn how on my channel. I also make memes on Twitter, same name. This grift paid for you by Jungle Jerry. Hey, thank you, Thank you, Jungle Jerry. TIKI 71 on YouTube if you want to learn how to build a tiki bar yourself. Nathan Levy says Major Johnson is supposed to be both in the car and thus in danger of being shot by Potter, and simultaneously so far out of the car that he is in no danger of being dragged. I present Schrodinger's comp. Tony Alto 1014 says, just watch that video. Ridge Wallet stopped a 9mm 115 grain at point blank range of approximately 5 feet. There you go. William Barnes says, I was paid $10 to tell more than 10,000 people about Raid Shadow Legends, all just to insincerely hype the MOBA game spreading from China like a virus. Alec E says, thoughts on the Denver truck driver getting 110 years for killing 4? We talked about that earlier. Bobcat says, anyone else notice that Runkle sounds just like the guy who helps with Razor Fist videos? KFG says, state setup, police possessing guns is criminal, too much risk, therefore disarm America as first local line of defense, the police. Lion says, it's good to see that Who's Runkle of the Bailey has turned into a recurring guest. Craig Buckner says, do you have to invoke your right to remain silent / I want a lawyer? Yes. Or can you just not say anything to the cops? Gage G in DUI says lawyer. Now, if you're going to invoke your right to remain silent, you need to affirmatively invoke it, which you have to say something to invoke it, which is weird, but I am exercising my right to remain silent. I will not answer any other questions. Say that. Say it. If you don't say it, they can draw inferences from your silence. Just say it. Fuzzy Butt Gaming says, any hopes of Legal Smeagol joining the panel? I don't know why anyone would want Legal Eagle on the panel at all. I don't value him in any way. Do other people value him? Daniel Gray says, will you definitely be removed from a jury if you offer that you are a proponent of jury nullification? Probably. Automata says, Runkle learned about second clothes from hobbits. What about second clothes? Grimm's Bar says, royalty-free music is being posted on YouTube. Then the poster is copyright claiming non-monetized channels. Seems like stealing ad revenue from YouTube through deceit. Panel's thoughts? YouTube's copyright system is broken, and that's about all that needs to be said on it. It's just absolutely broken. Travis Allen says, if prosecutor loses, they're summarily executed. There you go. That would fix some problems. Sink says she was doing OnlyFans before OnlyFans existed. Travis Allen says, you look like Julian from Trailer Park Boys. Who does, me? I never watched it. I've seen clips, but never watched the show. Brian says, when did closing rebuttals become normal? I don't know. Long time ago. Jamie Deshelm says, what is telling about this case is BLM, Sharpton, etc. have not shown up at all. Of the climate of the time, this is clearly a tragic mistake. DCV Titan says, all fathers need a BFG, boyfriend gun. Kruga says, I have to support that Gray Richards conversation. Legendary. 24 Cookie says, the jury's going to shout verdict, 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 and return with a hung jury decision. So I want to see a poll of who has the best backdrop. Ooh, that would have been good. Would have been good. Cameron Nelson says in Richard's voice, hey, Nikki, can we just kick all the prosecutors in the binger? I've clawed my eyes out and I'm running out of options here. MB says the whiskey is talking in Richard's voice. Shoot me, Nick R. Come on now. Come on now. Britt Cormeyer says, any lawsuit that has Reddit as a source of information makes me believe that our society has fallen and cannot get up. Perihelion says, good evening, Nick. Just learned today I'm going to be a dad for the second time. Havoc. If God listens to my prayers, it'll be a boy this time. Cheers to everyone on the panel. Hey, good job, brother. Get it. Jordan Cub says, possible big brain time. If I had a legitimate business vlogging my experience at college, could I write college off as a business expense? I don't think so. Typically, stuff that gives you a permanent benefit is not going to end up being a business expense. But maybe, I don't know. I'm not an accountant. Joe Harris says, with a former Marine JAG on the panel, what's thoughts on Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller situations? Sorry, we missed that one. Sir Marha says, I saw a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell in a bikini on Twitter, and now I believe the charges should be dropped. Don't hate, I am but a man. Big bazoombas. She does have She does have some large tracts of land, some big sweater puppies or whatever. That is true. Irie says, "Happy birthday, Tom." Wait, is it? It's not Tom's birthday. Ryan McKenna says, "What they had on Maxwell versus the charges against her reveals a lot. There's plenty tying back to Mega Group, Les Wexner, Peter Nygaard, etc. That's the real forbidden zone. That will result in censoring." Catherine Smith. "Oh, I missed this. Sorry," says Attorney Tom. "Is that Nick's Harry Potter sweater you're wearing?" That's what I thought too. Brian Quick says, "Has Crime Talk read Chaos by Tom O'Neill? It's about Charles Manson, Tate LaBianca murders, CIA, Operation Midnight Climax, and much more." Oh, welcome back to the late night podcast, Ricada Law, called Operation Climax, where we glow in the dark just for you. Incarnation Art says, "Nick, do you have to be a lawyer to join the stream?" I've been pretty much limiting the jury panel or the trial panels to lawyers for the most part. I mean, I made a couple brief exceptions in the Rittenhouse case at the very end during deliberations, but yeah, for the most part. Carlos Danger says, "Joe, where did you bought in that hat? It's fabulous." Squid says, "In your best Northeastern crime boss impression." The name's Todd. Retard. Retard. Kyle Bogue says, "Thanks to Earl Grey and Nick, this trial was actually not as boring as watching grass grow. Side note, I sent you that email you wanted." Yeah, I'll check it out, brother. Brian says, "Joe, give us a bing bong." Luke Pearson says, "Can you say, 'Your Honor, Kyle had to drop kick that baby in self-defense'?" I can say that. Nicholas Fisher says, "Tom's parents paid off the house years ago." Guintarino Criparino says, "Question to Tom: if the Kim Potter case would Taser potentially be liable for the design of the Taser looking too similar to a Glock?" The answer to that is always yes, but they have a lot of liability limitations. So it'd be hard to do it, but they're always potentially liable. 200 Watt Studio says, "Nick, on a scale of 1 to 10, how asexual is ADA Harpy?" Say good 6 to 7. Look, I think Aaron Eldridge is probably a demon in the sack whenever it happens. And I would be very concerned for a bent or broken penis. I think that is like it just builds up. It builds up, and then she just ravages some poor sap, right? He's like, no, and then it ends up with a hospital trip. That's what I think happens. I think that's why a lot of the chat are like, you know what? I kind of would, though. I think they see that. I think they see the risk. Jamie Deselm says, "Binger Littlefinger on the trigger." Carlos Danger says, "Can Emily do her Judge ASMR voice with the cat filter?" No. Says, "Tom looks like Derek from Step Brothers." Keck. Carlos Danger says, "Fine, here's 20. I missed that. That's really annoying. Sassy Gal Beauty says, "You can add your kids to your premium. I don't know how many counts, but no, at least 2 emails can be on it. Shares nothing else but the premium service." Yeah, it's 5 total, but I already have me. I have my wife. I have a friend on there, and I have, I think my mother-in-law or something, because she had a trip and wanted some music. So I think I already have 4 of my 5, but so I'm going to have to get another one. Nathan D says, "No freedom of religion in this proposed amendment." No, it was there. It just was reported a little bit lower. Casey Morgan says, "If you think the government should run anything, explain to me the gas can." Okay. JDA says, "Ty, the DMV in California does both license and plate/registration. When I moved to Tyler, I was surprised how easy getting my new plates were." Oh, yeah. David Hamilton says, "A prosecutor was petty and vindictive in charging decisions." Oh, my. Joseph Loans, thank you for the donation. Austin Siebert, thank you for the donation. I think we're really close to being caught up with yesterday's. And then it's just today's. And then we're done. Rabbi Sheckelstein says the judge denied a mistrial. She doesn't want BLM at her front door. She had to, I mean, judges aren't going to grant mistrials on their own rulings most of the time. But you gotta have her deny it so you have it for appeal. Dusk Zikarak says it's funny that they think that Kim Potter should be able to see her yellow taser while the guy who got hit in the face with a shell casing didn't even notice it. Bogey 34 says I would have guessed Prof and Frank would be pro Second Amendment. Rob Dorr says, big fan of yours, Nick, former Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, current law student, and Second Amendment active / lobbyist in Minnesota. Keep up the good work. Rob, hey, man, shoot me an email. Maybe we should chat sometime. New dislike button says, Nick, ask Ty if he's white or black pilled. Same question I asked you before. Also, got any advice for a 22-year-old with no trajectory in life? Dude, you're 22. Having no trajectory in life at 22 isn't abnormal. My advice is the same to all of these to all people who are really struggling, especially if you're in your 20s. Work on you. Look, your job, if you're in your 20s, the odds are your job's going to suck. It's not going to be what you want to do. It's not going to be what you end up doing. It's not going to be what you're great at. It's going to be what you're doing now. So your job's going to suck. It might be hard to find like relationships and all of that stuff, whatever you do. Work on you. Read, work out, play a sport, whatever that is, whatever working on you looks like. Learn a language, make yourself better, improve in some way, and whatever way you want. Master a video game. I don't care. Work on you. Spend time on that self of yours because that's what's going to stick around. The job's not going to stick around because you're 22. If you have a job, if you don't have a job, obviously, you're going to need to get one of those because you need to pay bills. But other than that, it's a matter of function at this point, and it'll help guide you. You know, you're going to learn stuff in whatever employment that you get that might lead you to or away from a particular path, but work on you because whatever ends up where you are at 22 is not going to be where you are at 30. It's probably not going to be where you are at 35, 40 for a lot of people. And so, but you will be around and you will have the consequences of what you did with those years. So just do them building yourself up. And as you do that, as you build yourself up, you'll find out what you need to do to keep building yourself up and to keep doing the things you want to do. And then you go from there, man. And some years are going to suck. 20s are lame in a lot of ways. You know, your body's awesome. You're like invincible. It's cool. But at the same time, everybody hates you because you're invincible and they're not. So, and he says, here's $5 more to say I'm pissed that Ty left right when I asked my damn question. Can you ask the panelists black or white pill next time? Sure. JJ says, please say taser, taser, taser meme in locals. Play the taser, taser, taser meme in locals. It's one of the funniest things I ever stole from someone else. Here we go. Oh, yeah, this is good. Here we go. This is worthy. Okay, here, if you're ready for the, if you're ready for this. Why is it muted? Oh, hold on. That's my bad. It's muted for me too. Hold on just a second. Locals has an annoying sound. I got to talk to him about that. A notification sound where it goes, dot, dot, dot. And it's like, don't make a notification sound, please. Like, how about we just don't have notification sounds at all? That'd be great. You have a little dot pop up. Here we go.
Holy shit! And child!
Sonia wins.
There you go. There you go. That was loud. Sorry. Okay, now I gotta see. Now I gotta mute the site again. See that it's funny, right? Because the other thing was too quiet and that was way too loud. And you never know. You never know. But I suffered with you. Just so you know, that was very loud for me too. Lord Vader says Dante is a victim of bad parenting, enabling mom. The end is near. Beware. Says would always be scared of this woman. Kim says I'm going to hoover you off, but always ends up biting it off. Eddie Oliver says, hey, Nick, is it wrong that I want Judge Chu to tie me up while prosecutor Aaron berates me? If so, I don't want to be right. Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong. Okay. Whew. Next. On to today's. Steph D says, RE earlier stream comment, you can share your YouTube premium with family up to 5. They get ad free. Just add email to your family group in Google. Jonah Paritsky says, Nick, will the feds come after Kim Potter if she's found not guilty? I don't think so, but maybe. He was a protected class. Jennifer Gunter, thanks for the donation. Wolfgang says, if I wrote a murder novel, could that be used against me in court when people realize it was me in the cold case? Yes. But generally speaking, the answer to if I did X, could it be used against me? Yes, of course it could. Of course it could. Zodiac says, thoughts on next trial after Potter? Do you know if Dominic Black's trial will be televised? I don't know. I want the Chris Chan trial to be televised. That's what I really, really want. That is what I think would be best in life. Televise the Chris Chan trial. Seriously, I just cleared all of these fucking notifications. And then I got... My phone is always maxed out on notifications. It's so annoying. Clear them. I don't want any. Clear them. Oh my God. No notifications. I have 2 phones and they're both always full. I have 2 phones. I feel like Dante Wright, just going to drug deals left and right. New dislike button says, Chael Sonnen got arrested for battery after beating the shit out of some guy in a hotel. The bad guy is undefeated in and outside of the octagon. Oh no. Graham 83 says, Nick, watching you drink room temperature vodka hurt my soul the other day. Throw it in the chiller next time. Gulp it as a shot and chase with water. No, you sip it. You sip it and hate it. Hate your life. Eric the Red says, on a scale from 0 to Rontoye, how much of a cuck is Jack Murphy? Spicy. I don't know how much of a cuck he is now, but in 2015, that was full cuckoldry, and I do not approve. I do not approve. Amateur Ant says, if Jack Murphy, aka real last name Goldberg, charges people $100 a month to be alpha, does that money let me sleep with his woman once a month? I don't know. You'll have to check in on that one. Krazixa says, if you ever find yourself near New Orleans, hit me up. I'll boil you some crawfish. I'm game. Crawfish. The Nickor man says Tim Pool had a face of disgust when Fresh and Fit started laughing when their fake DMCAs came up. Lol at 1 hour, 35 minutes, 20 seconds tonight's stream. So wait, they fake DMCA'd people? Tim Pool, it got brought up on Tim Pool's show and they just like laughed at it? Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Jared says he was defending the article 3 months ago in the comments on it. If you need the link, I'll send it to you on Twitter. Yeah, DM anything to me on Twitter because when Drex and I go through it, we'll have to. I'll want the full information. Mojo Each and Sharon Sunshine, welcome to Paralegal Status. Jura Joseph says, Nick, you should talk to Josh Pilot. He's a great speaker, a funny guy, and spent 6 years in prison for a RuneScape joke. Austin Robbins says, please see statement from Krause to the Lawyers Ethics Board that he's not in a homosexual relationship with Binger per Kenosha County Eye Twitter. Yes, we looked at that earlier. Polar Doom 420 says, I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Got to make you understand. Never going to give you up. Never going to let you down. Never going to run around, desert you. I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Got to make you understand. Never going to give you up. Never going to let you down. Never going to run around and desert you. Let's see. We got the Richards karaoke going. True Anonymous Shabbat Bad Pressure Badacaf Care says, how rude. Uncivil spent his money to have you sing to us and you won't even do it. Also, are you wearing yoga athletic pants tonight? I'm not wearing yoga pants, but I am wearing athletic pants. That is true. John Michael Mansfield says, Nick is so tired he didn't even realize he was rereading chats. That's true. Justin Wood says, thanks for following through and being transparent about the photo chat donation. I know this type of thing is more complicated than most people think. Well, yeah, I mean, the only complicated thing is I should, in theory, get paid by YouTube later today. But that payment comes the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd of the next month. And that's, so I was on October money, and my October money was a significant pay cut because I had COVID and because of my YouTube suspension. So like just manifesting the $2,700 on an already thin month was, I was like, don't know. Also, Christmas is here and the wife's doing all the shopping and stuff. So had to actually make sure I could donate the money. And at worst case, it was going to get donated when the November paycheck comes in. But, I was able to do it today. So there you go. Bad Burrito says, the game we sent you has lots of Fudas in the preview pics, and they all have balls. Jonah Paritsky says, Nick, you've been a rock star all Potter trial. If I had Krause's double Ds, I would ask you to sign them. Red Sun Alpha says, long-time listener, first-time caller. Quick question. What are your thoughts on the H3H3 defamation case and lawsuit? The one by Triller? As far as I can tell, it's a completely weak case by Triller. And Ryan Kavanaugh or whatever. I haven't read that case, but the underlying copyright lawsuit against H3H3 was garbage. And look, nothing would make me happier than watching H3H3 get burned to the ground by a proper lawsuit. I think that guy is a giant fucking vagina. But that being said, this ain't it. Mandy Karavichus says, Nick, what brand do you use when you bleach your butthole? Clorox. What do I use? Connoisseur bleach on my butthole? No. Booble Student says, Mark Richards. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. And maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, can you imagine that guy doing karaoke? Oh my gosh. Keith Roberts says, what do defense attorneys and police have in common? They both can't stand the DA's office. Sniper says, little Binger finger on his best friend's YouTube. YouTube channel. Patrick Brown says the process is the punishment when good people do stupid shit. It's so fun. Perspective from the wrong side because I'm living in it. Well, G has a message retracted. Cosmic Corsair says, make it stop. What, you want me to sing Make It Stop by Rise Against? Make it stop. Let this end. Techfall15 says, you wouldn't believe the number of newer truck drivers who can barely read or they intentionally ignore signs. I see it every day. Jimmy J009 says, just sent an article about the prosecutors to your Twitter about the Colorado truck driver. Kind of gross. Ashley says, Merry Christmas to the panel. Happy Hanukkah to Joe. Fake tree and Bath and Body Works wall plug under the tree. Greatness of real tree with no fuss. Loretta Silver member says, will the P song be used again during streams? I feel like a lot of people haven't heard it yet and it's fire. I need to get the P song is great, but people think the show's over when it comes on. I always get a drop in viewership when the P song comes on. People are like, oh, stream's over, and they leave. But it has to be the video for me to play it. That's the problem. True Anana Shabada Bad Pressure Bad Calf Care says, oh yeah, now I remember you. You were that lawyer from Breaking Bad. Red Dragon 412 says, H10 Henete is a classic laconic phrase, not just 300. Show proper respect to the Spartans. Oh yeah. With your shield or on it. Look, do you think they were quoting the actual Spartans or were they quoting the pop culture representation? That's all I'm saying. Kyle Bogue says, coincidentally enough, 42069 is his house number. David L says, I need a Xanax to listen to Binger. Pastor Flash has a cigarette. Automata says, we know Nick didn't get up. Not that he didn't. Marla says, would you please watch the end of the abortion arguments in the Supreme Court? Is the last half that I wanted to hear your thoughts on. Marlis, yes. Yes, I will. Very soon. I actually thought about doing it tonight, but I had so many chats came on the Kim Potter stream. I was just so far behind that I wanted to catch up on them. And I had the panel discussion there the whole time, which I didn't know I was going to actually have. So I was actually planning on doing that tonight in general, but with all of the backlog of super chats, I wanted to get those taken care of. Mostly Gluten says, watching on a smart TV, and you definitely need different headphones. Side note, does it make a difference on YouTube if I watch this on my phone or TV? No. Kyan Renhel says, better lolcow, DSP, wings, or heels versus babyface. I would say DSP is the king of lolcowdom. Loretta Silver member says, Jack told Sydney multiple times very nicely that he didn't want to talk about it, but she kept bringing it up and playing dumb. I don't like that part. Yeah. And I'm not even commenting on Jack's, his explosion that got memed. If there's context to it, it's great. I'm not even commenting on that so much. If you wrote the thing, you got to address it at some point. To me, maybe you don't do it on the show, or maybe you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to deal with this at a later date, but right now that's not the show for it. Cool. But man, I just feel like you got to address it. It's your words. Sasha says, real timestamp for Binger is 11 minutes, 50 seconds. I don't know if Bronca's book, but a book on ethics. It's right after he talks about people sending poop to his house. Don't send poop to this man. Oh, no. PG says in Richard's voice, I'm going to F your wife now. The Chad says a real man would have owned that and provided a stoic explanation, not verbally bitch slap Sydney Watson. Luke Thompson says, I may have missed it, and I'm watching from half an hour behind at 1.5x. Is there somewhere you've been asked about jury nullification? Jury nullification is great. It is this wonderful tool that juries have to make an unjust thing go away. And it should be preserved and honored, in my opinion. Amateur Ant says, in Jack Murphy's Goldberg's defense, he goes in after the cream pie to clean it up. Oh, gross. Oh, Joshua Sanabria says, I'm still here, Law Daddy. It's just been busy, and I have no idea what's been happening the last few months. Hey, brother. Glad to see you, man. Glad to see you in chat. And no worries. Always get your stuff taken care of. I'll be here when you get back. Sharon Young says, please send a prayer up for my dad. He's still grieving my mom being gone 6 months now, and now he's down with pneumonia. No COVID, but he's 78. I will send up a prayer, Sharon Young, to your father's health, his recovery, both mental and physical, dealing with an unfathomable loss. Really, it's a loss. It's a loss that anyone in a relationship anticipates but can never prepare for. So may you have healing from that, and hopefully recovery from his pneumonia, and some health and good times will bring him back to the virility and positivity that preceded the passing of your mom. Barry Soitoro says, media control anagram Omicron Delta. James Slabonic, thank you for the donation. Your Barmy says, hey, I wasn't here for a little, not sure if you spoke of it. Why sequester the jury for deliberation this day and age? One really good reason to sequester a jury for deliberation is it makes them want to get it done. It also reduces the amount that they can effectively be on social media and stuff like that while they're deliberating. They didn't do it for the trial, but while they're deliberating, that's a good thing. Wolfgang Dale says, hey, Nick, glad you didn't stick around to see me ban and unban you last night on Twitch when you boomered your raid of Hanged Fox. Abuse the power. He also says, peasant lives do not matter, hence peasant. Barry Cream, yes, please, says, honestly, for me, it was hard to follow the state's case throughout the whole trial. Their theory was all over the place. Yes, that was the intent. That was their goal. Rob Price says, if Potter is convicted with all the objections and motions to dismiss, what are the chances of this getting overturned on appeal? I think they're low. But you gotta have it there as an option. Also, don't you think chest appendix rigs would create less draw confusion? I think, did I read that earlier? I read that second part maybe from somewhere else. Rusky says, watch the last episode of You Are Here before you review Jack's article. Jack's response was insane. Sydney took it like a champ. No, I saw that response. I did. HP says, Stephen Mader, veteran and cop fired in West Virginia for not using deadly force. He thought he could de-escalate. He won a lawsuit, but can't be an officer. Rob Price says, as a former equipment operator, I will tell you it takes hundreds, if not thousands of hours to become proficient and just rely on muscle memory. Smelly Weasel 23 says, how much did Santa's sleigh cost? Nothing. It was on the house. Krell, I think I missed this one earlier. Says, been lurking here since halfway through the Vic stuff. Stuck around ever since and regretting not finding you earlier. Have my 20 now that I can part with it. And nice nose boomer. Thank you, Krell. Very much appreciated. Glad to have you here for that's been a long time. It's been a long time. Kyle Bogue says, what are the chances we actually replace Walls and or Ellison next year? No. I feel like enough people saw Minneapolis burn and the shit reaction to not vote DFL. You're still in the land of communism. We're still in the land of commies. Jiffy the Magic Elf says, donation because watching you be drunk while I'm drunk is mega entertaining. Also, I'm trying my best to spread the gospel of Wonder Witches. Oh, I got a whole fridge full of them. I got to eat some more. Ghost of Aces says, Dante's mom gave him cash to pick her up some wacky new air fresheners. Everything from his criminal record to his mother's record should be record. Timothy Reaper says, does Minnesota bite at the apple or kick at the cat? They lick at the cat's apple. That's what Minnesota does. Timberwolf Sniper says, hey, Nick, unrelated, but have you seen that people want to sue Square Enix for being unable to buy more servers? Gave me a good chuckle. That's kind of funny. Sketchum says, I have not seen that. I heard they had to limit the production or limit the sales of the most recent Final Fantasy expansion because there was too much interest. Sketchum says, trucker here. Overcharged, yes, but bad truckers need to be held responsible. Poorly Redacted says, what's a butt for? For pooping. Tor Theo says, instead of asking Runkle for opinion from now on, say, what do your elf eyes see? I'll try and remember. Ice Cold Ombre says, I think I know why you like Infinite Elge Intensity. He's also a lawyer who makes fun of mad fats and does funny impressions. Oh, he's great. That's low key. Don't tell the panel. Infinite Elge Intensity is the best law channel on YouTube. Don't tell anybody. Secret. Electric Paper says, can case law be cited in close, e.g. State versus Frost? You kinda, but it's probably not very helpful for the jury. You just summarize it. Fast Eddie says, can you please look into a murder 2 case out of Nashville, Tennessee? Officer Nathan Glass, NAACP, pushed the DA to charge him. The assistant DA got fired for calling him a good shot. Good friend. So murder 2 case for Officer Nathan Glass. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Let's see. Trippy Liquid says 0. Caligula says, yo, I just watched that guy's Ridge video. The titanium one stopped a 9mm full metal jacket at close range. Wow. Promo code knows, yo. Tor Theo says, trial taught me chat has terrible taste in women. Called out, chat. Called out. Crusader Saracen says, Mark Richards sings Africa by Toto. Gonna take me a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. Phoenix Lord Asterman says, please sing I Get You, Taylor Swift by the greatest legal mind of our age is Richards. I don't remember the words to I Get You, Taylor Swift. And then Amateur Ant says, Sydney Thougson was reading super chats when No Leg Day Alfalfa Cuck got mad and T-Rexed his way out. Okay. Okay. Oh, I do need to check and see if there were any chats on Odyssey. I checked a little bit ago. I didn't. No, there are none there. All right, guys. It's time. I gotta peace out. We got to keep this one somehow to right around 3 hours. It's been a pleasure with you guys. Pleasure hanging out with you guys. And not like the filthy judge ASMR pleasure. Okay. Now I'll just rub the lotion on its skin and then you get these hoes again. I will be, I'm not streaming on Twitch tonight. It's 2:00. I got to get some sleep. I'm very, very short on sleep lately, but I think tomorrow is going to be the end of the Kim Potter case. And then there will be more sleep and more Twitch streams to come because I won't have to wake up so early. So also I didn't ask tonight. You guys, many of you like the stream. Thank you. It's always appreciated when you do click the like button. I know it's weird and it's arbitrary because it's just a click and it, but it does help. It really does. So thank you for everybody who chose to click like. I really appreciate that. It makes things run a little bit smoother over on my end. So thank you. Also makes me drink, which is probably bad, but that's that. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow, bright and early. Don't be a cuck, ever. No matter how apex chat energy it is. Oh, JCF Data says, Nick, hello from Canada. Hope you and the family have a great Christmas and a happy New Year. Hey, you too, buddy. You too, buddy. Back at you. Thank you. I'm glad I caught that before going off. Remember, there is no amount of chadliness that will ever absolve you of being a cuck. So just don't be a cuck. Period. Peace. Peace.
he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some lost-plaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, more of the brook. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have